Hello, everybody. I think the mics are working. Are the mics working tonight? Speakers working okay? Great. We're going to get this ball rolling here and welcome everybody. Those that are here in person tonight, thank you for being here, and those that are tuning in online. I always start the meeting asking everyone to please take out your phone and silence it all the way past vibrate to the actual silent position, please. It just helps us make sure we're respectful of each person speaking and we can hear without any distractions or interruptions. We do ask for your patience and understanding. We appreciate it as council deliberates on our various agenda items. We do have open public comment at this meeting, at all meetings, and the sign-ups are encouraged. There is a sheet right by the front podium. And for open public comment, you can just sign up on the sheet, and when we get to that time, we'll call your name. We do not have any specific public hearings tonight. We will be talking about authorizing one in the future, but I don't think there's anything, any specific public hearings. Those are separate from open comment. We want to acknowledge the staff's work in preparation for the meeting tonight. Their insights are invaluable to each topic of town business, and we appreciate our town manager and our council manager form of government. Natasha Tucker is our town manager. She sits right over here, and she handles our daily operations and department administration, while the town council provides direction and authorizes policy in accordance with our town charter and the laws of the Commonwealth of Virginia. While each council member has the ultimate responsibility to contribute and vote distinctly, the council does work as a body. We are duly elected to serve responsibly and ethically the citizens of Colonial Beach. Participation of each member contributes to effective leadership, and collaboration is key in productivity and local government. Let's engage in constructive discussion, remain open to different perspectives, and work together for effective resolutions. And finally, I just remind us all that the meetings of the Town Council are formal proceedings and are thus recorded. And with that, we will call the regular Town Council meeting to order on Wednesday, March 18th, 2026 at 6:01 p.m. With that, I ask you to join me to stand for a moment of silence, which will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, next up, somebody didn't put their phone on silent after I said that, huh? All right. Thank you, Mr. Wood. It was a good example. Next up is our roll call of members. All members, with the exception of Mr. Allison, are here right now, but he is on his way. He's just held up at work, so he should be walking in the door any minute pending. At this time, he's absent. When he gets here, we'll put that on the record. Next up is additions to the agenda. I'd like to make a motion to add anything to the agenda.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to add just a brief discussion on the shoreline erosion and infrastructure repair.
All right. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay, great. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, we'll add that under C for new business, so A, B, and then C under new business, okay? All right, is there a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved.
Is there a second to that?
Second.
All right, and all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, keep moving forward. Next up is our consent agenda with the approval of some meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second to that?
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion around the meeting minutes? All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Moving right along. Next up is our councilmember liaison and commission report, and I'll start on Mr. Wood's side this time, if that's okay.
Okay, let's see. So
Just a brief going on the Azalea Cove Park opening. It's coming soon, but keep your kids off the equipment. It's hard for me to stay off too. But right now, it's not quite done. So please stay away from it, and we'll let everybody know as soon as it's open. We've got a lot of stuff going on. Most of them are going to be at the community center. There's functional fitness classes on Tuesdays, yoga classes on Fridays, swing dance classes on Fridays, community board game night, coffee walks from the Colonial Beach Buzz, sip and stroll, second Friday, art walks, the annual Chamber of Commerce Easter egg hunt on Town Hill on April 4th starts at 10 a.m. April 11, the Virginia Osprey Festival happens from 9 to 4. April 12th, 2 to 3:30. Come fly a kite. That's something I've been invited to do quite frequently. But that's going to be park recreation events on the beach side of Town Hill. And there's going to be a volleyball open gym every Sunday at the Colonial Beach School Gymnasium. As far as Planning Commission goes, they reviewed the revised zoning text amendments and the conditional use permit application related to the telecommunications facilities and a potential cell phone tower. Council previously authorized a joint public hearing with the Planning Commission on April 9th. Authorized an April 9th Planning Commission public hearing for zoning text amendments relating to small-scale production that would allow coffee roasteries and other small-scale and manufacturing in commercial districts with a conditional use permit, and reviewed the zoning, conditional use permit, and substantial accord applications related to the proposed fire department building to include equipment and apparatus storage with meeting and event space. Planning Commission will hold a public hearing on April 9th. That's all I've got.
Okay, Mr. Larson?
Good evening, everybody. Just a reminder, I'm the liaison to both the schools and our finance team here on the staff. For the finance team, they want to remind you that the April bills are out, utility bills are out, and they are due the bills are out and they are due by April the 1st. The business license renewals have been mailed. They are due by May the 1st. And the 2026 golf cart registration stickers, tags are available now at the various dealers where you can get those. And our normal PSA from the finance team, if you're struggling paying your bills, come in and have a chat with them. They will work with you to come up with a payment plan that you can live with. As far as the schools, we're going to have a presentation from Dr. Addo tonight on the budget. I think that's been their primary focus here recently. It's certainly been ours on the council for the town budget as well. I had a meeting with them about a week ago, and we spent a lot of time talking about finances, as you might expect. There was also a pretty lively discussion about sort of their approach for doing communications. Again, very similar to what we're trying to do with the town, to be more proactive with our online communications about all the events that the schools are doing. So some nice collaboration going on there. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Williams?
Okay, good evening, everybody. Just a few public safety updates. Let's see, I'll just have a couple things to read and then give you a couple other updates. The Colonial Beach Police Department is extremely proud to announce that CBPD Police Officer Brian Tinder has graduated from the Rappahannock Regional Criminal Justice Academy with honors. Officer Tinder earned 3rd place in academics and 1st place in skills, which include firearms, defensive tactics, and driving. Officer Tinder also received the award for the top overall recruit in his class. Officer Tinder is currently assigned to field training duties, and we look forward to him serving independently as a Colonial Beach Police Patrol officer. Let's see, the police department would like to announce that Jersey Mike's is having a fundraiser for Special Olympics. Jersey Mike's will donate all the income from sales on March 25th to Special Olympics. Please consider supporting this fundraiser by purchasing lunch or dinner from Jersey Mike's on March 25th. Let's see, the police department will be hosting our monthly neighborhood watch meeting on Thursday, March 26th, so it's coming up soon, at 5:30 PM in the community room at the police department. That's near Truist Bank, for anybody that doesn't know for sure. The topic will be driving while under the influence enforcement. And then just a couple other updates. 2 new officer hires are in process, so hopefully to have them filled soon. Also, parking attendant, crossing guard position is in process as well. Let's see. I asked in my one-on-one meeting with the town manager and the police chief, I asked about one of the questions I get from constituents regularly is if something's announced that's pretty serious, like a murder, for example, is there anything that the town can do to kind of help alert the community? So the town manager is looking into that. My main concern was, can we let the public know if there is any active threat? You know, if there's a murder, obviously that's concerning, but if there's not an active threat, it'd be nice for the citizens to know they don't have to be on alert or worried. Also, I asked when the new police cars are coming in, and the chief said probably sometime after July. So that's all I've got for that. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Grandstaff?
Good evening, everyone. I'm reporting for the economic vitality portion for economic development. Last night, we had our meeting and some highlights. First, 2026 Business Networking Breakfast is scheduled for May 14th at the Ice House. Agenda and invites are in preparation. In April, there is some good news that will be happening in reference to the Main Street, but I will leave that for Eric since he's here tonight and not steal his thunder to speak more on that later. Benny Bowman, the chair, will be scheduling a meeting with Adam Schaefer in the Town Finance Department to discuss business licensing compliance and how they can assist with the components of the application format and management of engaging businesses to improve timely and efficient participation. Also, they are beefing up their efforts to collect pertinent data and statistics to help in making good decisions in their revitalization work and to share with their stakeholders. And that's it for me.
Thank you. Ms. Sanford?
All right. Good evening, everyone. So for my report for the NGOs, as Mr. Wood mentioned, but I'm going to reiterate, the Virginia Osprey Festival is going to be on April 11th on Town Hill. Also, there is going to be a second volunteer meet and greet during the National Volunteer Week on April 25th at Pier 909. There is no time listed, but I know the event is posted on Facebook somewhere, so hopefully I'll have some more information before that meeting, so I can give you an actual time. But it should be a great event. If you're interested in volunteering or getting any information on that, please attend. And that's all I have.
All right, since we're skipping Kenny, maybe he'll come in while I'm talking, maybe not, we'll see. Just a few things. We just met last week at our work session for the budget meeting. We still are ongoing in the budget process. But just to give everybody a reminder, a heads up, that the April work session for council has been canceled, but we will have a joint public hearing with the Planning Commission the following Thursday. So if you're following our schedule or anything, just give that a heads up. Our work session was the same time as the school spring break, and so a lot of people are on vacation right before Easter that week. Also, I just wanted to give a shout out and thanks for everybody at the Colonial Beach Community Center and Westmoreland Little League. The Sandlots down at the Old Lions Club field, as some of us refer to it, is used widely, where there are 3 different levels practicing there now. And so if you see a lot of kids out there playing and running around and trying to hit a ball off a tee, it's pretty fun. There's been a lot of waves and a lot of excitement around that. I'm glad to see so many of them, so much use in that field so quickly. Games do start this Saturday for the Little League teams. And just because I get this question a lot, clarify that fireworks are July 3rd Everybody asks me that question for 6 months until July gets here. They've been on July 3rd for quite some time. We find it works actually a lot better for traffic control and for the town to expand the holiday weekend to get people to stay overnight to the 4th. And so we're sticking with the 3rd. July 3rd is fireworks. And I got word that the carnival's been passed over to the Ladies Auxiliary, so it can be a fundraiser for them. But that is still in progress and hopefully will get scheduled at some point in the year. I'm a big fan of the carnival, for anybody who doesn't know. I am obsessive about it. I want a carnival here. I think any week would work, whatever weeks, however, but I know we're trying to get it back on festival. I have not had word on that or any success, but if anybody out there, and this is a little bit of a plea, if anybody out there has a personal connection to a carnival, you never know who's listening, please get in contact with us in the Ladies Auxiliary. The carnival we had last year did not have that date open, but hopefully we will find something in the works to get that back on a regular schedule for the town. And also, I just wanted to give a little bit of a PSA that in case you didn't know, one of the things I found out this year is that for the Colonial Beach Foundation, which helps sponsor many events and many activities in town and other nonprofits, you can donate your derelict cars. If you have a car, we have nuisance issues sometimes in town with people who have vehicles or motorized things that are not movable and they are sort of stuck maybe in their yard or something like that to that effect. It is tax season and you can call the Colonial Beach Foundation and they will get a rollback and they will come get your derelict vehicle and you can donate it as a charitable donation. And you will get a tax write-off for that. And it's pretty minimal effort and maybe can solve two birds with one stone and help your community out a lot. So I just pass that information along because maybe some people didn't know about that program. So just like to let people know. And that's all I got right now for the mayor report. Since Kenny's not in yet, we'll keep moving forward to the town manager update. Natasha.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members, members in the public. We will begin the town manager report with one project update that I have, followed by the sewer plant update from John Simmons from Bowdoin, followed by the police department update given by Chief Parsons, and lastly, an economic development and tourism update provided by Ms. Charlotte Cole, our economic development director. So I really just wanted to provide an update on one project that we have been working on for some time, and that is the North Beach Erosion Control and Shoreline Resiliency Project. We've reviewed the RFP responses that we've received, and Kimley Horn was the highest ranked firm, and so we are moving forward to the contracting phase with Kimley Horn. At the April 15th regular meeting, we'll present to council a contract and proposed schedule for the work at that time. And we'll answer more questions at the April 15th meeting regarding that project. And right now, we will move on with John from Bowdoin for the sewer plant update.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me? So start on page 2, please. So what we have here shows the flows for the month of February. One thing we did have is a continuation of ammonia violations and entero and fecal coliform for the month of February that began in the end of January. So here you see the flows, and that kind of shows when some of our problems occurred. You know, at the beginning of the month, we were dealing with real frigid cold weather that inhibits nitrification, which is ammonia removal. And starting on the 15th is when, that's where you see the rain events and the snow melts and everything where the I&I was coming into the plant. And when you see those elevated flows, that's when we have to turn off, you know, our air blowers and our mixers and things to be able to retain solids so we don't send solids to the river. So our efforts to retain solids worked very well. We kept everything in the plant. And if you go down to the bar graph there, you can see that, August through January, the flow is relatively low, and then February, you had it go up there, your average flow, and that's due to those storm events. Page 3, your effluent quality, you see there, your orange and blue dots above the line there shows our elevated sample results, the orange being in ammonia. We've, the permit average is a 1.6, we come in at a 9.0. The fecal coliform, you can see there that was a little elevated too. That was mostly due to cleaning the lights or UV chambers and things before they took their samples. Exceedance details, what you see here is cause and remedy. This is the explanation that was sent to DEQ along with the monthly report. That is what we call the letter of explanation. You can see there that we've had frigid temperatures and a couple equipment failures that were caused by the cold, and we had spare parts on hand. Chris and his team had come over and replaced a gearbox and some other items there to get the plant back to functioning. And the final page, page 5, that shows our phosphorus and nitrogen. Nitrogen levels did go up because of the lack of nitrification, and phosphorus remained at a non-detect. So one thing we do have is, now that the warmer weather is back and the Public Works Department has fixed some of the equipment failures, nitrification is coming back. The plan is, the treatment's coming back, everything is stabilizing there. So we're not really concerned that those things are going to continue. And does anybody have any questions?
Mr. Wood?
Hi. Obviously, we are obsessive about making sure we're on the right side of Department of Environmental Quality. Pardon me. I'm assuming you've been in communication with them and
Yes.
with the elevated numbers this month. What has been their input on that?
Well, obviously they want us to get things functioning as quickly as possible. One of their biggest concerns was, have we fixed the equipment that had failed? They expect treatment issues when it's cold. They know how nitrification works, but, they just want to make sure that we're following our schedule of compliance for the consent order and that we did get that equipment that failed back online.
And so it's fair to say that they're pleased with what we were able to accomplish?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Williams?
Yeah, just a quick question. Do you have any updates on the inflow and infiltration testing and repairs?
Yeah, we haven't done as much of it through January and February as what we were in December because of the cold. But some of the lines that we have identified, there are some pretty significant failures out in the collection system. And we've got one contractor looking at doing a repair on one street. On 6th Street, we're waiting on quotes to come in to do that, and we'll start that repair just as soon as it gets here. That's going to be about 800 foot of replacement of the main line. And we have cambered about half of the point and smoke tested all of the point. And, most of the problems that we're finding are coming from clean outs and things in customers' yards that need to be repaired, but we are finding some significant failures in the main sewer lines, especially like down on the Bancroft area. So we're working now, Chris and I are discussing, which one of these are candidates for slip lining versus full replacement. What we intend to do is identify places that the town maintenance department can go in and repair themselves. We're going to get those fixed. Then we're going to get some of the slip lining done before the end of October, where we have to get the ARPA reimbursement. And we're just working through it a little bit at a time. But, we can already see in the flow charts, if you look back at that data, that what we're already doing is making a difference. The flow, the I&I is reducing, but we do still have a ways to go.
Now, does the slip line, does that go in the pipe or on top of the pipe?
It goes inside of the pipe,
Okay.
and then it's cured and stays dries in place.
Okay. So I guess we get less flow from that, but it's not an issue?
No, it's just, it's real thin. It doesn't really impact the flow of the pipe. What it really does is stabilize the pipe and prevent the I&I, but as far as taking away the size, not so much.
Okay, thank you.
John,
Yes, ma'am.
so it seems everything is moving along, so is it safe to make the assumption that you could still be on track for your deadline by June 30th of 28, and that you'd stated 40% of the issues were related to clean outs? Do you find that number is decreasing like you just said?
Most of it is still really the cleanouts. You know, there's obviously some failures in those old pipes, but one thing that we are finding is there's been a lot of pipe upgrades, especially in the Point area over the years, that I don't think people really realize. You know, some of it's been converted to PVC, you know, instead of the old Orangeburg pipe, and then you have also some concrete sections in there. You know, most of the problems we're seeing is in the Orangeburg, but then we also have some concrete pipe that the top is starting to cave in that needs to be fixed.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Are we still doing water quality testing of the actual river and bay?
That starts up in May through September.
Okay, I didn't think the River Keepers is doing that currently, though, and I asked
Yes.
that because the topic of the DC sewer spill is still very much on everyone's minds, and I have not heard that they have reported elevated levels from their sampling. Have you heard that?
No elevated samples in this area. The samples that are, the reports that are coming back are very promising. You know, it's still, you know, as it gets warmer, some of that stuff is still going to denitrify and come to the surface, but I still don't believe you're going to see much of the elevated sample results in any of the solids or rags and things down in this area. You know, I think what you're going to see mostly down here is just the impact from the fishing and things like that. You know, perspective is going to be your biggest problem.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions for John? All right, PD, Chief?
Madam Mayor, members of council, an internal investigation into the use of force in Cedar Way. The independent investigator has completed a comprehensive review of all the submitted reports and conducted interviews to establish the facts of the case. A report outlining the investigator's findings has been submitted, and we are now in the final stage of the process during which the police department and town administration and its findings to determine whether disciplinary action is warranted. If so, an appropriate level of discipline will be determined. As we have said from the outset, we remain committed to ensuring a fair and impartial process that leads to a just and equitable outcome. Anything less would not meet that standard. We appreciate your continued understanding and patience.
We're expecting to have a conclusive report at the April meeting then?
We would hope by that time, but yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Ms. Cole?
Good evening, Mayor Schick, and all attending this meeting, whether in person or virtually. My name is Charlotte Cole, and I serve as the town's Director of Economic Development and Tourism. Thank you for providing time for me to update you on the work of our stakeholder team in what we're doing to support our visitor-driven economy and your goal in the Colonial Beach 2026 legislative priorities addressing economic development and tourism. Next slide, please. So I just want to kind of give some quick history. I'm sure most people are familiar with this, but there may be some who aren't. Our very roots here in Colonial Beach are as a visitor destination, having been initially platted in 1882 as the business center of a fully planned resort along the Potomac River seeking to attract residents from Washington, D.C. Our historic district's diverse collection of 81 contributing vernacular and high-style commercial or residential buildings represents the whole of nearly a century-long period of significance from 1875 to 1970. Compared to similar waterfront resort communities in Virginia, the district's level of preservation overall remains moderate to strong, and that's something for which we can be very, very proud and which is a significant draw to visitors. On the left hand of this slide, I've included some statistics of the economic impact of visitors to Virginia. These are some pretty big numbers. Tourism is a leading industry in the Commonwealth, as shown by these metrics reported in 2024, the most recent year tallied. Nearly 115 million visitors came to the Commonwealth. Over $35 billion in visitor spending was reported. Nearly 330,000 total jobs were supported in the tourism industry, and over $3 billion was generated in state and local taxes. Next slide, please. So as you can see from the numbers, tourism is a powerful economic development strategy. Tourism boosts the local economy, generates jobs, and drives infrastructure investment by leveraging local assets and acts as a catalyst for stimulating hospitality and retail while improving quality of life and fostering community pride. The statistics on this slide are for tourism impact in Westmoreland County and again for 2024. We're closing in on, or we closed in, on 40 million in visitor spending, which breaks down to nearly 22 million for lodging, nearly 6 million for food and beverage, and please forgive that typo, it's million, and about the same for retail. In addition, 153 total jobs were supported, and tourism activity accounted for nearly 3 million in state and local taxes to our county. So it sounds pretty impressive, but consider this. Cape Charles, another small rural waterfront community, experienced $261.6 million in visitor spending in 2024. And in New Bern, North Carolina, which is in Craven County, yet another rural waterfront community, visitors spent $183 million, fueling local tourism with $45.5 million in payroll and supporting over 1,303 jobs. So what's the difference between CB and these similar communities when it comes to tourism? Well, they have a cohesive, consistent tourism marketing program and have for quite some time. We have suffered from and have historically lacked an effective targeted marketing program combined with inconsistent communication of local attractions that has significantly contributed to the decline in Colonial Beach tourism. And this is backed up in any number of research documents from Virginia Tourism Corporation. Our local business continue to sometimes struggle at the reduced foot traffic and visibility. And in short, the town has kind of historically relied on limited attractions, the things that we have, the beach, the pier, some of the gaming, individual businesses, without adopting and adapting to modern marketing strategies that highlight the area's charm collectively. So we're changing that trajectory. Next slide, please. The job number one of economic development and tourism program is to make Colonial Beach visible in the marketplace. For starters, we're working under the official VTC recognized destination marketing organization, the Town of Colonial Beach, which is, and have established the first fully functional tourism stakeholder group in October of 25. Comprised of industry sector representatives, those best suited to help create a viable, durable, and sustainable tourism marketing program. We've committed subgroups to focus on the most valued tourism interests, history and heritage, arts and culture, and absolutely our outdoor experiences. Their job is to identify compelling messages, develop itineraries, and guide creation of targeted marketing tactics. The next step to the success will be through inventory of assets we've developed, an embraceable brand highlighting all that is special about Colonial Beach, our river, our bay, our marinas, our friendly atmosphere, our quaint and quirky creative community, our unique historic sites, amazing natural surroundings. And this initial effort was created pro bono by long-standing tourism marketing professional colleagues. Through their generous expertise, we're building our 2026 marketing effort around two central themes, one of discover and one of wonder. We're also in the process of revamping our website. Through our research, we learned that the increasing use of AI has rendered Visit CBVA as ineffective because it kept pointing to Chesapeake Bay as CB. Our interim URL, Visit Colonial Beach VA, while it identifies correctly, it's not really excitingly action-oriented. The current imagery on our site is a little bit dull and uninspiring, and so the messaging throughout a little disjointed and incohesive, and there's no continual urge to action. What our team has done is we're creating a new URL, it's work in progress, that will be Discover Colonial Beach VA. It's more highly action-oriented. The market test rate Discover for hire as a motivator than visit. The new imagery and narrative we're producing vividly tells our story in a wonderful way. And we will feature a wonders gallery that will illuminate all the beautiful and scenic assets that we have. We hope to deploy this new site by early May, so next month and certainly in May, I hope that I can unveil that. Finally, as the season approaches, we have a few more items in the works to drive tourism here from our primary target markets, which are the Washington, D.C., Richmond, and Fredericksburg metropolitan statistical areas. These include digital and print ads, working with an influencer, and our VA 250 collaboration with both the Commonwealth and with Westmoreland County. And regarding those VA 250 efforts, we are a certified VA 250 commemorative partner, as is the museum, the chamber, and DCB. And we're working, as I said, with Westmoreland County. The state has an exciting VA 250 passport. It is not in a digital version, so you have to go to an outlet to actually get it. But our Westmoreland County Heritage Passport, which supports this effort, is in digital form. So we have 7 sites throughout the county, one being our Colonial Beach Museum, which is within the passport. You collect 4 of the stamps at the locations, and you're eligible for a drawing for a $10 gift certificate at participating restaurants. So in effect, we are working diligently with the county on both the passport, the sticker program, and a Where's George scavenger hunt. Next slide. And in closing, I'd like to recognize our team members, our co-chairs, Karen Grisovich with Grow, Virginia, our Patty Woodside with the Boathouse, Janelle Johnson, who is CB Tiki Cruises, Kelly Woods Vaughn at Riverview Inn, Wendy Short at Hawthorne Mercantile, Kathy Moran at CB Creative, Phil Boland representing Marina Way, Chris Flemmer, Ingleside Winery, Dr. Lenny Levin at the James Monroe Birthplace and Boyhood Home, Dale Hendon, my partner in crime at the county level, Director of Economic Development and Tourism, and our our council liaison, Lisa Grandstaff. So I want to thank you for your time and attention, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have about our tourism efforts and how we can continue to grow our visitor economy. Questions?
Any questions? Yes, Ms. Sanford?
I just want to say thank you for putting this together. I've been eagerly waiting to see what you guys have been working on. Just one quick question. I was in the Fredericksburg Visitor Center the other day and didn't see anything for Colonial Beach.
Because that's the problem we kind of have at the moment. We don't have anything. I know that the Chamber's working on its new version of its visitor's guide.
Yeah, so I'd like to see, hopefully we can get something there. Because
Yes.
they have a lot of brochures there. And,
Yes, yes.
So it's right down the street, so I
Thank
think that would be a great opportunity.
Thank you so much. The first was to create a message. I think Discover Colonial Beach is pretty strong. It tested really, really well. And Where the Waters Welcome Wonder highlights all of our assets. So as soon as we can get those printed materials and digital items together, we will certainly share them with you. But thank you. Appreciate that. Any other questions?
Mr. Williams?
Yeah, just a quick question. I know economic development's been a big topic for the town for quite some time. And, of course, we hear the bad probably more than the good, but
Yeah.
one of the complaints I get is when people get here, there's not much for them to do. And I don't know what we can do to bring more entertainment here, but is there anything in the works to try to gather more things for people to do? I mean, I know people could go to, like to George Washington birthplace or to the state park and stuff like that. But as far as in town, I mean, like, for example, a couple of years ago, and I don't know if this even came to fruition, they had talked about like a boat, like, boat rental thing or a charter, fishing charter, stuff like that.
Right.
I haven't seen any signs of those things if they exist. So if they do, that would be great
No.
advertisement. But if not, do you know if there's anything in the works for that stuff?
So what you're describing is the classic chicken and egg, that a lot of tourism destinations will wrestle depending on the cycle that they're going through. For us, we're pretty much invisible in the marketplace, so it's really difficult to call upon potential charter businesses or dinner cruises or even land-based attractions, to come to a community where you don't have the numbers to support it. That's what we're building. We have to build the capacity first. However, the silver lining is, we have had several people, since they heard of this initiative starting, little rumbles of this initiative starting to grow, who have reached out to us, and we've been referred to some folks. So there are a couple of things in the works. It would be premature for me to speak about them, but there are some water-based activities that are finding Colonial Beach a potential market. There are some land-based activities, entertainment-related, that are finding Colonial Beach of potential interest. So that's what I'm hoping, that as soon as we can continue moving forward, and this team is working pretty darn fast and using all of their resources too to help us build this program. We hope that this time next year, we'll come back to you and be able to report the numbers that have had significant growth. That's what the goal is. So.
Okay, that sounds good. Just a couple of things that I hear from the public, like Town Hill, they feel like it's underutilized.
Underutilized.
So maybe music in the park, like, a lot of times it sits empty. So if on a Friday night, it's, maybe somebody could play some live music or something. Anyway, that's a suggestion. Like a beer festival, like that's big in a lot of places, like, local breweries come in with their different brews and they set up. We got a couple of breweries in town, so
We
they
do.
probably sure they'd be
Yeah.
happy with something like that.
Yeah.
Just a couple things I've heard.
There are some strategies, and so I'm going to step out of my town hat for a moment and step into my DCB hat. Those within our Economic Vitality Committee, again, Lisa Grandstaff works with us in that space. We are looking at some programmatic types of things that are offered through grants that would speak to some of these public interest opportunities. And you're right by saying music is always going to be at the top. Anytime a consumable is going to be of interest to folks. We have such a great and vibrant arts and creative community that also. So what we on the DCB side are looking to do would be help shore up and assist all of those organizations, Osprey Festival, Chamber, others who conduct events currently, and help to illuminate those while looking to see where there might be a space that needs to be filled in some kind of event that could be created. So it's a fabulous work in progress.
Good. Oh, one thing I just thought of, I know Rick's got a question. We did, I forget the name of it, the events where you can have like open containers outside and you go from place to place.
Yes, the Dora.
Dora stuff. Have you,
Sip and stroll.
Sip and stroll.
I know we got the sip and stroll, but is there any expansion? Because I know that was a big deal when they mentioned it years ago, but I haven't seen much beside the sip and strolls.
Right. That's something that we can look into. We, when I was in Orange running that Main Street program, we did that kind of thing for a beer festival. So, it's an old playbook, but maybe dust it off and apply it here. And our team will certainly look at that.
Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
Thank you.
Mr. Allison, did you have some? Okay, Mr. Wood first.
Hi,
Okay.
To lend credence to what you were saying, we are losing one of our water-related facilities. Tiki Cruise is simply not going to reopen this year. And that harkens back to you have to build it before they come, right? One of the things, in the view of trying to build things, I noticed that on Town Hill, many of the times when we're trying to use mobile credit card readers, because of the lack of cellular data, they're
Right.
basically plastic bricks. So would you agree that one of the ways to help bring more folks into town for events like that is to actually improve that communications infrastructure so that
Yes.
merchants can use it more readily?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I've been asked by a couple of individuals to see how that can happen. And so that is,
Funny you say that, because we're working on that. Planning Commission is presently working on that.
yep.
Mr. Allison?
So I would somewhat disagree about not having things to do in Colonial Beach, because it seems like we have everything going on every single weekend through the year. But I think the message is having a single point of access to all the things that are going on. A lot of times it's disparate information that may be on this Facebook page or that Facebook page, and there's things going on a lot of times that we don't even know about's going on just because of so much things that are going on. So if there could be some, downtown Colonial Beach and merging some of these things together to help the audience, right, our external audience or internal audience to see those things that are here, are available, throughout town, throughout the year, even in the off season, right? So, I mean, a lot of places have food specials or whatever the scenario is. Getting that message out across the board would help bolster the town's tourism and that kind of things, which we could share, through other social media platforms.
That's the whole idea behind Discover Colonial Beach VA, the new website, is to have a more thoughtful approach to how that information is packaged and delivered. One of the things that we have done as an interim step is to up our game with social media, and that we probably will be able to launch in the next couple of weeks through one aggregator. So the information is trustworthy. It is deployed through all these various sources, so you're reaching many more people kind of more efficiently because you don't have to type in every little thing. Having that kind of one-stop shop, it is a dream, and I think we can get closer to it. Will it ever be perfect? Probably not, but I think that's what our goal is, to make sure that there is one totally reliable source that's recognized as the go-to. It doesn't subsume the other people who are in this space too. It helps add to it and support their interests as well and their activities. But building that one reliable representation of the town of Colonial Beach as a visitor-driven destination is what our goal is. And so we have, as you heard me rattle off, a number of really talented, capable individuals who are leaders in their respective space in the industry who are helping contribute to this. So I'm not overpromising. We'll get her done.
I think you got a large task in front of you.
We do.
This will be about the 10th iteration of a branding marketing scheme that
know.
I have seen in Colonial
it's the
Beach.
inconsistency,
Each one hopes to be successful, more successful than the last one, and yet we continue to get those same results back. So I wish you all the best. I will say that, like, the concept of a calendar that has all of the things going on, because I could not be more busy in this town. I am literally every single weekend. There is too many things to get to. There's too many places to go. I miss stuff all the time because I overlaps. But I'm looking at the Parks and Rec newsletter, which is really great. I mean, the town's newsletter has come a long way. There's a lot of good information in that. I'm also looking at the guidebook for our regular annual events. I'm also looking at the school's Facebook page for what's going on with the kids and what the kids are doing and, events like that. I'm going to 4 or 5 different sources to find information about stuff, and then I'm still missing things too. But AI is probably your best shot at starting to pull those things together. And one of the conferences I went to in this last year, municipalities are talking about how they need to teach AI about their towns so that the information is out there for other people to find it. And so, personally, it's one of my personal goals to continue to tell my AI all about Colonial Beach. And I just keep putting information about it all the time, cut and paste stuff, keep putting it in the AI, hoping that those answers get available to the AI bots that are out there for tourists to come, because I think people are going to be relying more on AI assistance than anybody's website.
Yeah, well, true that.
So getting the information into the AI that's out there, particularly the big ones, Google Gemini and things like that, ChatGPT, is going to be critical, and having a source that AI can pull from, or multiple sources, or telling the AI their 5 best sources to pull from, and having that available to it, I think is going to be our best shot at reaching people, because nowadays they just ask their phone. They don't go to a website. They just ask What is there to do in Colonial Beach this weekend?
Right.
How many people do that on Friday? Probably everyone that comes here for the weekend. So
Yes.
it's a big venture, though.
Yes. And to that point, I mean, we have to get the information accumulated so it looks good, it's the right messaging, it truly reflects what we have to offer and how we can compete against other communities when it comes to those visitors making decision. And then the next step certainly is to use all the tools and technology available to make sure that when someone asks, where can I go this weekend, or where can I take my family for a week, within an hour and a half, 2 hours radius, the top answer bubbles up and it's Colonial Beach.
Right. I just keep putting Colonial Beach is not Virginia Beach. Colonial Beach is not Virginia Beach in
Right.
the AI.
Ergo CBVA, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all. Any other questions?
Can I just, I know that we are very small and that like resources are very limited, but, do some research with AI, maybe use it sparingly. I did see some statistics that like doing an AI generated video is like, uses the same amount of electricity as running your microwave for an hour. So, I know that resources are, and AI can be very beneficial, but just take into account, like, maybe not use it all the time for some,
Big picture.
yeah.
Thank you.
All right, next up, is there anything else, Natasha, for town manager update?
No, that concludes town manager updates.
Okay. Mr. Trivett, Supervisor Trivett, yes, there you are. Welcome.
Madam Mayor, Town Council, you never know what I'm going to say when I come up here, right?
It's always a surprise.
Well, I want to tell you, I've always believed in transparency, good, bad, or ugly, and tonight it's not pretty. For those that came to our meeting, I know a couple of you did, that was there on the 9th. I mean, it pains me to even talk about some of these things, but I'll just tell you I'm my 7th year representing this town on the board, 3 years as the vice chairman and now the chairman. But during the past 3 years as the vice chairman, it was pretty difficult to get information from people that I work with in the county. So I thought in January that would change, and unfortunately it didn't. It still became difficult to ask questions and get information. So, I've spent 30 years, I'm retired now, in federal law enforcement, and so it just makes you feel like when you can't get answers, you need to go somewhere else and find those answers. You don't just give up. And as a result of that, I discovered that the county owed the town several $100,000. And that, was shocking. So I contacted the town manager, who was extremely helpful, had 3 meetings with the county administrator, and basically had gotten nowhere. That was just one issue. So I started looking a little bit further and find out that we had 8 loans through rural development that were 8 months delinquent. Talking about $1.5 million and letters that had been sent saying they were getting ready to recall our loans, which would have bankrupted our county probably, because we have millions and millions of dollars worth of loans with rural development, low interest loans. So as a result of that, I brought this to the board's attention, something that the board should have already known about, and we knew nothing about it. And I asked our treasurer to come to the meeting. I realized that and found out that the money had been moved because it was just sitting there. We had the money to pay the loans, but it just hadn't been done. Initially, it was a glitch with rural development, which maybe you all faced as well, because numerous counties and cities faced that predicament when rural development changed something and the bank payments wouldn't go through. But everybody fixed them except for us. And this went on for 8 months. And so as a result of that and getting the board involved, those loans have been paid. We're up to date now. I'm going to try to set up a meeting with the town manager and the staff next week to get the town resolved, and hopefully where it'll never happen again. And there's a lot of things that, you know, you find out when you start looking that, you know, shouldn't be like they are. And so, as a result of that, we've had to bring in the former county administrator as an assistant to the board to try to help us figure out where we went wrong and what occurred. So he's going to be working with us for a couple months to see if we can figure that out. As a result of that, we accepted the resignation of James Taylor, the county administrator, on March the 5th. And we appointed Donna Cogswell as the acting county administrator moving forward. So I would just tell you that it's ugly and it's bad, but there's nothing better that I believe for any of us that are elected than to be transparent. And there's people even on my board that would like to hit me in the back right now probably with something if they were here. Because, you know, everybody's not that way. But we owe it to you as the citizens and to the town government to help you, to be upfront with you, to be honest with you, and to provide you information any way we can because we work for you. And I've always felt that way and had that philosophy. I'll always be that way. I'm not a politician. I'm just somebody that thinks that what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. So we've made some changes. There'll be some other changes that'll probably be coming in the near future at the county level possibly. We do have a new finance director that started in January. So she's just getting her feet wet, and she's got her hands full already trying to figure out, you know, how to straighten a lot of things out. I'll tell you from what I understand that mistake's going to cost us about $125,000 in interest. It's compounded on a daily basis. It's sickening. That's your tax dollars, that's my tax dollars. And it's just sickening. And, but I believe that in order to be honest, it's something you need to know about. And like I said, everybody might not agree with me on that, but, you know, I'm sorry for people that don't, but I think you have an absolute right to know when things go wrong and what we're doing to fix them. We're fixing them. And we're already showing that by some of the actions that we're taking. And so if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. I hope in the next week or so, I've worked very closely with the town manager, and she's just been great to work with. And I think that her and I will be able to resolve this hopefully within the next week or so to where the town can get the money that they're owed. Because if it was the other way around, we know, you know, how that works, because we've seen it in the past. If you owed the county something and you wasn't there on day one with it, then, you know, somebody's knocking down your door. So we're going to take care of it, and we're going to get it right. And, you know, we're going to continue to work together and do what we can to make things right. And I'll be glad to answer any questions if I can about anything. There's nothing that I'm telling you tonight that wasn't discussed at our meeting in public on the 9th. And I'm sure you're going to read about it. We've already been getting FOIA requests and other people calling us since this became public on the 9th. And I have to say, and I shout out to our attorney all the time, Richard Stewart. There's nobody any better. Nothing against your attorney, because I like him too, but but I just tell you,
We like Pal.
when I notified him, the first thing he said is, you got to be transparent. The public has a right to know if we've done something wrong and we need to make it right. So, and I commend him for that, because he thinks just like I do. Any questions tonight about anything? I hope I'm not forgetting anything. But
Before I start
think
calling
that's
on
important.
people, I just want to, you know, the delinquency is related to sewer bills, right?
That's correct.
And related to that, I will just say you, as a supervisor, have been here with us. You're very diligent about coming to our meetings, and I appreciate that so much. And you know what we've been working through, and you know how much, you know, work has had to go into getting on the right side of this. You know we've had to raise our sewer rates 2 years in a row. You get a town sewer bill, you know, just like I do.
Yes, I do.
So it did surprise me that the county was not adjusting rates, considering that was obviously going to have an impact there. And I don't know why there would have ever been an expectation that that was not a shared impact because it is one plant for all users, right? So I'm glad you're working with the town manager to resolve that with the, and I know that you'll do, you work it out and that it will get resolved. But, I'm know there's been a lot, it's so hard when you have that much leadership change. I just say that from this side, from this council here, we've been through changes in town managers. You all have been through a couple now. And when you have a CFO, a brand new CFO too, I mean, that is a big impact to the county. And I know a lot of that is resting on your shoulders right now and the rest of the Board of Supervisors, but really on you as chair. And I just want to say that, we're here to work with you and work through this as well and just extend that because I just have some compassion, honestly, about how difficult that is for you guys. And I'm glad, you've brought it to light and, trudging through it, making some of the hard decisions that have to happen through that. And we'll keep working with you on it. So I just wanted to start out with that. We can open it up to other council
you,
members
Mayor.
that have. I saw a lot of hands go up. I saw Wood, Williams, and Sanford. I'll start on this side. Is that okay? Okay. Wood?
First of all, Tim, thanks for your leadership on this. This is never, they say, you're a pioneer because you're the ones with the arrows in your back, right? And so this has got to have been a tough time. The question I have, since the money was there, usually you think if bills aren't being paid, where's the money? Well, it was there. So from what you've discovered, has this primarily been a process problem within the county?
I would say probably so. Yes, the finance director that we had, she retired a few months ago, like I believe it was last June, and then another lady that did accounts payable, she took over as the finance director. And then in January, we have she retired in December. Now we have another new finance director. And so there's been some miscommunication somewhere along the lines when it comes to keeping track of things. And so there's no, I don't think there's any embezzlement. There's nothing that we need to worry about anybody misappropriating any funds that I'm aware of. But you can believe one thing, I'll follow that trail too. If things don't work like I think they are right now, we're going to continue to find out what went wrong. And I believe it probably is because of people that may not have known the processes and procedures. So we may have to, reinvent the wheel and figure out, where we go from here and ensure more than anything else that this never happens again.
Well, thank you for your kind words for our town manager. You've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. And it was very encouraging to hear that you found our town manager easy to work with. And I have no doubts that the two of you are going to come to a great conclusion on this.
Thank you, Mr. Wood.
Williams?
Yeah, just a quick question, since we're in budget season and talking about money. One of the things we noticed on our budget was the E911 communications fees
Yes,
from
sir.
the county had gone up significantly. I think they were over 600,000. Do you have any insight on that?
Nope.
Or
I just have to be honest with you, I do not. We should be well ahead of the game right now with our budget, and we're at zero. We're at square one, just because of all that's going on right now. So, but yes, I'm aware of different things that involve the 911 and where that money goes, the tower out here. There's issues that we've been discussing and trying to get resolved now for the last couple of years, and hopefully we'll get a solution to all that. As you know, the dispatches went up and up. I think it started out when the county first took over dispatch, it was around 268,000, and now it's, I want to say, over 500,000 or close to it. So it's not, everything is going up, and, there may be, and I'll tell you, we're constantly having radio issues, and that's going to cost us millions. The chief can tell you theirs was down this weekend. I think it was the storm. The towers are not lining up. I mean, we're getting ready to spend, we had the people out there today. It's going to cost us about $20,000 to line these antennas up, and then we're finding out that they were not properly installed when they were put up in 2018, and so now we've got, it's just, you just find things out that just should never happen. But those radios are critical. That's your life support, and so we're doing what we can to get that resolved immediately, which we do have talk around some different things that we can use for emergency services that works well. If you don't have that, so we got the emergency vehicle that we have as well with if that has to be brought up. But right now, I think everything's working okay. So we're working on that. But yeah, there's issues that need to be addressed, and that being one of them. We've talked about that for a long time, where that money goes and who keeps that money and how it's utilized. So, but those are conversations I think the town manager will be able to have at the county level as well, and get answers to those. Because I intend this year, I may only be chairman for 1 year, but I intend that we have a lot of conversations that we haven't had in the past, and we figure out things that have been ignored, that we've actually questioned and had conversations about, that's all it was just a question and a conversation, and it went nowhere. And she can tell you she had 3 meetings that amounted to nothing. She got nowhere on this money that's owed the town, and but I don't operate that way. Now that I'm aware of it and I'm involved in it, we're going to move forward one way or the other, and we'll get it resolved. However it's got to happen, we're going to make it happen. So.
I think Ms. Sanford, you
Thank you.
still had a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of echo the mayor's point, but just say thank you for your transparency and due diligence and just getting to the bottom of this. So I really appreciate it. So thank you.
Thank you.
I don't envy your position right now.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll call you if I need your help for
I
backup.
know. I'm just a phone call
All right,
away.
thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Addo. Welcome.
Well, good evening, Madam Mayor, Town Council members. Is my mic on? I think it is. It's a great segue to follow economic development and then Mr. Trivet to talk about the school's proposed budget for the FY 2027. For the sake of time, and I will try to go through this, but not to minimize the importance of the presentation of this budget to the town council. I may skip a few slides, but please, for the public, know that this presentation is also public on our website as of now, so they can refer that to that those slides show on our website. And as always, if you have any questions, please reach out to myself or any of their board members, especially Ms. Lyburn, the board chair, and also Ms. Lucas Payton, the vice chair. So without any further ado, next slide, please. These are our board members, so you can reach out to any of them, including myself. Next slide. I keep thinking that's my phone. Next slide, please. This is the school's strategic vision and mission, and that's included in our strategic plan for at least for another year until we develop a new one. And then just in short, it basically tells our public, tells our folks that what we plan to do is equip every student with the skills that they'll need, the knowledge that they'll need today and moving forward in the future so they can be successful. Next slide, please. Within our strategic plan, we have 5 goals. And those are the 5 goals that drives us, it directs us. It is our compass, so we don't lose track and we continue to meet these goals. We have successfully met most of these goals, but we continue to excel. As you can see, the 3 goals that you see in front of you, are in yellow, and then below that are what we call our key performance indicators, KPIs. It gives us a compass, a direction if we are meeting those goals. For example, a high quality learning environment. These are some of the examples that if we're able to have those activities and events, we'll know that we are meeting that goal. Next slide, please. And the next two goals that you'll see in our strategic plan are the fiscal stewardship, which is taking care of our business in terms of financially. So any revenue will equate to the expenditures, and it will produce the results that we're looking for in terms of student academic success. And then the last one is also always to recruit, retain, and have the best staff that we can for our kids. Next slide, please. To give you a legal background and context, the Virginia Code mandates that myself, every superintendent in a school division, prepare needs-based and balanced budget every year. The budget is first to be presented to the school board, which was done last week at the board meeting, and then to the local governing body for approval. And the presentation for that is tonight. The budget mostly include estimation of how much it'll cost. The money needs to for the next fiscal year for the support of the public schools. Next slide, please. To give you a little bit, since our budget is largely based on the governor's budget, the biennial budget, right now the folks in Richmond are going through the budget process. The initial governor's budget gives you a little bit of what's ahead, a peek through the window until the House and the Senate conduct the amendments and make the adjustments. Right now, the governor had 857.9 million general fund, but very little, excuse me, went to K-12. Now, Virginia, of course, saw a significant budget surplus of nearly $2.7 billion to $3 billion. And with that, we got a little bit of help because they were able to supplement the retirement system to VRS, which reduced the cost for the employee contributions by 2.01%. So the governor's budget indicates that 2% salary increase for state share of our standards of quality instruction and support positions, with localities to provide at least 1.5% for prorated share. And also a 2% bonus to all SOQ positions, and that is state contribution only. Now for this year, we're projecting that our membership, I don't know why this is dropping. Or just a commercial break. Now, our ADM projection for next year will be based on 540 student count. Next slide, please. Now, to give you a little bit about what's going on with the House and Senate, I will maneuver back and forth a little bit. The state share of the House is basically from that 2% that the governor recommended for a salary raise. For their bonus, they have changed that to $1,500 as a flat rate for all SOQ positions, and I think that's also shared in the Senate. The House maintained a 2% increase for next school year. The Senate proposed an additional 1%, so the 2% has gone to a 3%, and we believe that is probably what's going to pass, that 3%. And then additionally, there's a 1% recommended referendum for local sales tax for school construction. And then there's an additional amounts of money to increase at-risk add-on and also for special education. Those budget items for school divisions dropped drastically. Next slide, please. So for the school's budget process, it's important that we all know exactly how the budget process works. Principals, directors, and coordinators will review their FY26 budget to look at their expenditures and determine if there will be any increases, or any reduction. But granted that any input that is submit will have a justification to it. That process goes to our executive directors that review that process, and then it comes to the finance director, myself, and we review it and we see what is feasible, what is not within our budget for next year based on our projected ADM, and then the budget is created. I must add that the budget survey is also very important that we put out to our parents, staff, and students. Next slide, please. This slide gives you a historical enrollment. As you can see, Colonial Beach Public Schools has fluctuated a bit. And now we'll review basically this past school year. Our budget was projected. The enrollment was 555 projected on our budget. As of March the 1st, 2026, we are at 536. Now you may ask why so low. It is due to several factors. One that we are trying to resolve is that we did have 10 seniors that finished their graduation requirements in December. So you sort of lose 10 seniors out of your ADM in March. So that has happened last several years. And usually that has an impact on our ADM as we move forward. So for next year, as you can see, we're projecting 540 for our total enrollment. Next slide, please. So to tie the ADM, the average daily membership, to the local government share, this year the budget was at 555, and it still remains to be determined at the end. We will get another projection from the state when they will finalize our ADM for the year. And ADM is collected in 2 points. It's collected in September, and it's also collected at the end of March. And then they will determine exactly what our year ADM will be. And that does impact the local share. As you can see, as of right now, it's at 3.3 million for the local share. And that would depend on exactly what the ADM, if the ADM is lower, of course the funds are also lower. If the ADM is higher, typically some of the funds are also higher. So the student body count is important. There are a lot of other factors also, but I'm just simplifying this a bit. So as of fiscal year FY27, we are projecting 540 students, and the local share for that will be $3,052,837. Next slide, please. Based on our community and staff surveys, budget input, we look at academic data, we look at previous expenditures, strategic plan, and these are the 4 priorities, budget priorities shared with Town Council last month in the budget, in the survey. And it's competitive staff, salaries, and benefits. As I shared before, the governor, the House and the Senate will probably pass a 3% raise for all SOQ positions, mainly teachers. Academic programs and instructional materials is 2. Academic support services, counseling, and mental health is 3. And then you have facilities and maintenance. I think that number 4 is new for this year, mainly due to our high school that needs some TLC. Next slide, please. This is probably one of the important slides out of this presentation. It really, the rubber meets the road with this slide. Starting on the left-hand side, it's just the operating budget highlights. Next fiscal year, we are looking at a decrease in funding from the local government and also from the state, which will total $974,621 in revenue decrease. $265,161 will be a decrease in local funding, and $710,710 decrease in state funding. So we're looking at almost $1 million in the shortfall for the revenue that we received for this fiscal year, FY26. At the same time, every year, as most people know, we do have an expenditure that will increase. And this year we have an increase in $308,431. And from that, the 3% I mentioned earlier, that we will be required to give SOQ positions, that is a total of $72,374 for the FY27 budget. We do have an employer health insurance rate increase. Right now it's projected at 13% from our insurance, and then that will be $66,776. Also, we are required to adopt curriculum textbooks for next school year, and that is something that is Commonwealth-wide for every school division. It's math, science, and social studies, and that will be $169,281. That number is a projection. We expect that to go down a little bit, but probably about $10,000. That's about it. And then our yearly commitment, strategic investments, $258,480. That goes to our Chesapeake Bay Governor School and also Northern Neck Technical Center. And if you look on the bottom, the last bullet on the left is $8.3 million, almost $8.4. That is our investment in employee pay and benefits. So we're talking about salaries, health insurance, FICA, VRS, retirement. That comes to roughly about 85% of the school's budget. And that is within the range, pretty typical percentage for every school district in the Commonwealth. Now, on the right-hand side is what we estimate our operating budget will be for the FY27, and this excludes our food services. I will jump to the bottom. Our food services is about $500,000. It's mostly self-funded, so roughly around 97-98% self-funded. For state allocation, the state will, according to our ADM, the state will supply the district with $6,224,029 will be their state allocation, and for the local governing body, the town will be $3,052,837 required local government match. And then we have 125,000 grants and miscellaneous. That is our E-rate and Medicaid reimbursement. So as of what we have for the district, we are total anticipated revenue, as mentioned before, will be $9,276. $9,276,991 is anticipated revenue. That gives us a shortfall of $511,559. So what I'm asking, what we are requesting from the town is $3.3 million from the town, but that will be $265,161 over required local match, leaving the district at a shortfall of $248,398. We still have to make up that difference in various ways. Next slide, please. So the expenditure highlights, I'll go through this a bit fast. The main goal is really to remain competitive with other districts. As we're giving 3%, other districts are giving 3% and a lot more because they're trying to be competitive. We have great staff, great teachers, and our goal is always to keep them. I think this past 2 years we've done a great job of that. Of course, the health insurance increases to upgrade the high school student support services, and of course, we want to increase the APDE, CTE courses at the high school. Next slide, please. So some of our strategic investments, you have already heard about the salaries, but our people are the foundation of our success. I don't have to tell you, public school is our people's business. Education is people's business. It impacts all of us one way or another. And what we want to do is just present the best education that we can to our kids of Colonial Beach. Next slide, please. There are several things that impacts the workforce in a strategic environment. Our workforce really is, we still have that recruitment stipend, and we encourage that. That has worked very well for us. Give you an example that we have, I don't want to use the word stolen, but we have acquired 3 teachers from King George, and we're very excited about that. Previously, in the years past, it has been the other way around. Our teachers have been leaving to go to King George. So we know that we have something good that's going on here. They enjoy our kids, they enjoy our environment, and we are competitive with our pay. So we want to continue to do that. And then we provide a support for them while they're here to get acclimated and to get settled to becoming a drifter. So to repeat that, what I said earlier, we have a town funding request from the school. It's $3,317,998, and that will be the same funding as this past school year. I want to say level funding, but I probably get it confused. Level funding each year is different, depending on the ADM and what the LCI will indicate. But of course, that's $265,161 above required local match for FY27. Next slide, please. Now, I wanted to put this slide in because it's important for the public to know that this is what a 3% looks like, let's say for an average teacher with step 5. If you look at the middle of this chart, at step 5 for this school year, it's making $55,052. With the 3% for next year, their salary increases to $56,716, meaning the difference is $1,664. But monthly for their paycheck, they will get $138.66 before any deductions are taken from that. So it'll be much less than $138. Next slide, please. We'll skip this one. Next slide. And this is an overview of the school's budget, where the money comes from and where it goes. It's important that folks know from this pie chart. On the left-hand side of the pie chart, we have 62.2% comes from the state, and then 31.3% from the local government, meaning the town, and then our grants, other funding sources that we have, is 6.4%. Where the funds expenditure, where it goes, instruction is 72.2%. And then you see administration at 11.7%, food services, transportation, maintenance, and operations. And I think, is that the last slide? Next slide, please. And this is a timeline in April the school board will make any adjustments, but approve the proposed budget, and then it goes to the town, and I think the town will eventually approve the budget in May, I believe, from what I see. And that's the end of my presentation. I'm available to answer any questions.
Any questions? I know all the council members have seen the presentation already, and this is just the public viewing of it, so I don't know if there's any further questions since we've had a chance to meet with you about it already. All right, we'll keep moving forward. Dr. Addo, thank you very much. Next up is Mr. Nelson with Downtown Colonial Beach Annual Report. Welcome.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Council, Madam Town Manager. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak to you this evening and give you an update on what's going on with Downtown Colonial Beach. I'd first like to thank the council and the town manager for all their support for Downtown Colonial Beach. Main Street is a true partnership program. It must have the support of the town or the municipality, as well as the businesses in town. And we certainly have gotten that support from the town manager and from you, the council. So we really appreciate that. It's really what has gotten us to where we are today with Downtown Colonial Beach. So I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about our annual report, which I believe all of you have received a copy of that. Is that correct? Yes. Okay, perfect. I'm going to leave these copies here. If anybody from the public would like to get a copy, I'll just leave those copies there. I'll take one so I can refer to it.
Will you actually make sure you leave some on the table in the back? I find more people are willing to pick it up when it's on their way out the door.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll pick it up and take it
Perfect.
back.
Thank you.
So this annual report is one of the requirements that we had to do in order to achieve the next status that we've been working towards, which is to have accreditation by Main Street America. So what it says here at the top of this is that we made it to the advancing level of Main Street. And the advancing level of Main Street is an accreditation by Virginia Main Street. And we did get that accreditation last year. And what we've been working for the last 12 months is to get the accreditation by Main Street America. And as I sort of teased you with some information at the last meeting, we have been recommended to get full Main Street status by Main Street America by our mentor in Virginia Main Street. So we believe that that is coming. Main Street America has not yet made the formal announcement, but we have every reason to believe that we will get full Main Street status beginning when they announce it in April. So what you can see from this report is some of the accomplishments that we made last year, including some of the economic impacts that Main Street has had on Colonial Beach. And I can hopefully answer questions that you might have about where those numbers come from. But I'll leave it for you to look at it for the moment, and if you do have any questions, I can answer them afterwards. Also, the backside of it gives of this annual report just gives some additional information about some of the activities that we've been ongoing for the last year, including, of course, the connectivity study that was done last year that has given the town and given Downtown Colonial Beach sort of a roadmap to follow for future activities. So I'll let you look at that more, and I can answer questions about that at the end if you'd like, but I also wanted just to talk a little bit more about what it is that what we've been up to. One of the things that we are focused on very intently is Downtown Investment Grant. We are trying to get a grant. I think the amount is $50,000 altogether, if that's correct, Charlotte? Yes, $50,000 grant. And the grant will be used for a variety of different things in this town, but among them are we want to create a cartoony kind of map. I think some of you who've been around for quite a long time remember that there used to be this kind of cartoony map of Colonial Beach. with a lot of the businesses highlighted, where we want to do that again, and we want to then use that artwork for kiosks that we're going to put throughout the town. So the kiosks will be wayfinding messages of where to go, where things are in this town, and there will be QR codes which will direct people to get more information about specific businesses, specific activities, and that sort of thing. So we will be having, I think, 4 kiosks. That's our plan, is to have 4 kiosks throughout the area, trying to, again, direct people to where all the fun things are going on in the town. Another thing that we are going to be using the money for the Downtown Investment Grant is to replace and revitalize the golf cart, the Love Golf Cart down on the boardwalk. Despite efforts by Ms. Sanford when she was an employee of the town, it has now gotten into a state where it is really not really repairable anymore, and so we're working with some local businesses who have given us golf carts that will be used to replace the ones to replace that one, and there will be a second Love Golf Cart that will be in front of CB Creative, so you can stay tuned for that. It's going to be a fun project. Another thing that we've been working on is we have a new home, or we have a prospective new home. We were at 125 Wilder. You maybe remember that building, Madam Mayor, but that's where your office were for a while. We have left that building, and for a short period of time, Gray Construction has allowed us to use an office that they have in their building as a temporary home, but soon, in May, we hope, we'll be moving into a building that was purchased, which is where the old Lawyer's Title building was. That building is being painted and renovated. You probably have seen the new paint colors and so forth of the building. And that building is going to be the new home of Downtown Colonial Beach and other nonprofit organizations that are in town. And we're also hoping that it can also serve as a visitor center so that people coming into town will have a convenient place to stop to get information about the town. Some of those details are still in the works, so stay tuned for how it's actually all going to unfold. But it's very exciting to have that building put to that use. Another development I want to share with you is that Downtown Colonial Beach has been without a vice president for a while. I was vice president 2 years ago when Jeff Crook was president. Since I've been president, there has not been a vice president, but most recently we elected Kelly Vaughn to be the vice president of Downtown Colonial Beach, so we now do have a very capable vice president, and the succession plan is that perhaps if all things work out, she will become the next president of Downtown Colonial Beach. Let's see, another thing that we have been working on, well, let me say this about Downtown Colonial Beach Board. We have tried very hard to have a board that reflects the community in terms of age, in terms of gender, in various ways we've tried to reflect on our board the way the community looks. And that is actually a requirement of Main Street programs, is that the board should reflect the community. One of the areas that we didn't really think about in doing that was we didn't have anybody on the board that came from generational background in Colonial Beach. All of the people that we had on the board were people that were new arrivals to town. So we have decided that in order to make sure that we have the perspective of people who have generational backgrounds in Colonial Beach, is that we are creating an advisory committee of those types of people so that we can make sure that the things that Downtown Colonial Beach is doing fits with the perspective and the desires of the people who have helped shape Colonial Beach for generations. That is certainly a goal in general of Main Street programs, is to respect the history of the location where the program is located. So we are very seriously trying to intend to do that. So we want to, again, make sure that we take into consideration all of the things that the people who have, again, who have been in this town and built this town for many generations, what they would like to see in this town. And especially since next year is going to be our 135th anniversary. And it reminded us of this, that we really need to take our history very seriously, and we really want to make sure that we are, that again, that our programs reflect the history of this town. And the last thing I want to bring to your attention is a fun event. Our fundraiser for downtown Colonial Beach is going to be a Kentucky Derby party. It was mentioned earlier that we should do more on Town Hill, and that's exactly where this event is going to take place. It's going to be a Derby party on May 2nd, which is the date of the Kentucky Derby. Come rain or shine, we're going to figure it out one way or the other, and we're going to have a great time. We're going to have contests and different activities. Kathy Cavender, who's on our board, who's a equestrian, is going to be bringing folks dressed up in horse attire, horseback riding attire. So it's going to be a very fun event, and I hope that you guys will come and enjoy yourself and support the organization. Again, thank you for this opportunity. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions? Sure, Ms. Sanford?
I just had a question. What's the difference between what the Main Street level is we are now and like the advanced status?
We are in the advanced status right now, so
Okay.
there's several stages of Main Street. The first one is called Exploring Main Street, which is where downtown Colonial Beach was years ago. The next status was called, I'm going to have to turn to Charlotte and ask her, Mobilizing Main Street. Mobilizing Main Street was where we were prior to getting this Advancing Main Street status. So we have been in the Advancing Main Street status since January, or the end of December or January of last year. So what we're striving for now is the last highest status, which is called, it's basically just full accreditation by Main Street America.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And by the way, with each change in status becomes more recognition by the state, more recognition by the national program, more opportunities for grants, more opportunities to promote ourselves for tourists and so forth. So these are not just hurdles that we're trying to overcome for, our own sake. They are hurdles that we're trying to overcome in order to achieve a status that makes a better Main Street program for the town.
Mr. Larson?
So you just answered the question I was going to ask, but are there particular things that we get at this highest level accreditation that are maybe interesting
Yes.
for the council or the public to hear about?
Yes, yes, that's correct. We will be getting more and more of these kind of additional things. For example, one of the things that we now are able to apply for is this downtown investment grant, which we wouldn't have been able to apply for at a lower level. So it's those kind of grant opportunities, and also just the feather that we can put in our cap when we promote ourselves, that we are at full Main Street programs. There's signage that's going to be put up. It's a big deal. Becoming a Main Street program is a big deal. And I have to, again, commend the council and the mayor and the town manager for their support. They recognize the importance of this and have really made it a priority to achieve this status, and we're getting there.
Mr. Williams?
Yeah, I was just wondering, the community has a lot of good input to provide sometimes, especially when it comes to tourism and the downtown. Have you guys ever considered maybe not every meeting, but make an occasional meeting in public where people can come and provide feedback and maybe listen to some of the conversations?
Sure. I'll answer that in a couple of ways. First of all, during the preparation of the connectivity study, there were community meetings that were held in order to gather public input for that important document that was prepared. So that did happen. We are certainly, we certainly do want public input. We have an affiliation with Community Heart and Soul. Community Heart and Soul and Main Street programs oftentimes are kind of like work together. And the Community Heart and Soul program, as you probably are aware, is a program that is all about trying to get community input. So we are actively engaged with Community Heart and Soul and looking into all of the documentation that they have prepared as storytelling and all of the input that they have received from the residents. So we are always looking for new opportunities to enhance the public awareness and public input.
Thank you.
I think the Kentucky Derby event is going to be of great fun. I apologize in advance that I already will be out of town for that weekend, doing a personal celebration for Mother's Day early with my son. So I won't be able to attend, but hopefully the rest of the council can all be there in support of it. It sounds like a great idea.
It's going to be fun. Fun.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, next up is public comment. And as always, he hijacked the public comment paper. All right, as always, we're going to start out with just letting you guys, in case you're new to the meeting or haven't heard the spiel, although, you know, most of the time we have a lot of tried and true. During all public comments or hearings, we ask that certain guidelines be followed. We do ask that you come and stand at the podium, and for the record, please state your name and your address. If you'd like to be contacted, you need to provide your contact information to the clerk, so that would have been on that sheet. If you forgot to do that and you still would like to, just hand her a note or let her know your contact information and how you'd like to be contacted. Make your comments to the council as a whole. Be brief and state your position and provide facts, and you may provide written statements or any supporting materials to the clerk, and she'll pass it out to us and the town manager. Debate is prohibited, and we do follow up on comments provided by the town manager, so she'll follow up on any comments. Please speak clearly, as we want to hear what you have to say, and the council will try to hear everyone who wishes to speak on any subject. Comments are limited to 5 minutes, and time cannot be transferred to another speaker. If you represent a group, you may wish to identify the members of your group that are here tonight in attendance. And after public comment is closed, we encourage you stay as the council continues to engage in dialogue and deliberate on agenda items. So with that, we'll open up public comment. I got 7:48 p.m. for the record. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. This is my first meeting to attend, and I have to tell you, I'm very impressed with all the accomplishments and all the future wonderful things are going to happen here. I'm here really for a slight little problem. I live at 221 Longfellow, and our street is a mess. We have puddles so large that ducks wade in them. And I sent you an email with pictures from today. 2 days ago there was rain, and it's still puddles. So I just want to little cheerlead for Longfellow and see if we could get some help there to resurface.
Thank you.
Next is Carolyn Chalmo.
Welcome, and take your time. Just no need to rush.
I promise I won't run.
Oh, yeah, please.
So, hello, Madam Mayor and Council. My name is Carolyn Shalmo, and my husband and I are new to Colonial Beach. We've been here since May. And we moved in and we built this really cute cottage, and we really love the neighborhood. congrats on the snow removal. Was that you? The snow removal was brilliant. Like, honestly, it was so nice to see. So I just want to say thank you for all of the things that the city provides for us. So we signed our paperwork in May, and we didn't get our deed in the mail. So I went to Westmoreland County to get a copy of my deed. I live at 517 Franklin Street. The deed says I live at 517 Franklin Avenue. Exactly. So Westmoreland, that office sent me to 2 other offices that asked me, what did the postmaster say, who knew? These were the problems with having the wrong street name on my deed. And I need help. We need help. We need to get that fixed. And when we've talked to somebody from zoning, the answer that we have gotten, our lawyer has gotten, and Westmoreland County got was, we know it's a problem and we're working on it. If that didn't get your parents' spidey senses up, that would have gotten me checking out what my kid was doing. That is such a go away. We actually need an answer, and I don't know where to go to get one. I certainly am not going to go to the zoning office to the person who had that come out of their mouth. We need help, and I don't know where to turn. Thank you. Our contact information is on that sheet. So we'd love help. Thanks.
Perfect, thank you. Welcome, Mr. Knuckles.
Evening, Will Knuckles, 204 Monroe Bay Avenue. I'll start with a topic that's not on tonight's agenda, but it's a theme of y'all's for a while, which is communication towers. Or actually, maybe I should characterize the theme as somebody wants to do something in town, and rather than dealing with that specific topic, we seem to lurch towards trying to rewrite town code for the entire town to try to fit what one individual wants to do with sort of one area of town. We went through this with Dodson on School Hill with some unintended consequences in other areas of town. Some people like those unintended consequences. Some people hated those unintended consequences, right? But these are the sort of problems that you have when you switch from somebody wanting to talk about a use on a parcel and switching that into going like, let's just rewrite the town code for everybody, right? And then later on going, oh, right, this is what this means. So I think your process is fundamentally flawed, right? And there have been some remarks about the fact that you kind of have to do it this way. You can't really focus on something. And yet later today, on this very agenda, you have the fact that the rescue squad needs to go, like, we need to actually look at this particular area, and we want to talk about the fact of having you guys work on this particular area. That seems to be flying along just fine, right? So it seems fundamentally inconsistent what y'all have been saying earlier this same calendar year in this same quarter about how you can't address one topic and actually focus down on it narrowly, but you're going to look at another topic and try and focus on that narrowly to sort of rearrange the uses to make it actually work with the town. This just doesn't make sense. It's bad policy. We've been doing this for a while. We keep doing this repeatedly with bad things happening as a result. You got to get your heads around the fact that if somebody wants to do something different, it's a variance. It's asking for an exception. And that every time somebody wants to do something in town, you stop rewriting the entire town code to try to make that one use happen, because that one use isn't related to that one parcel. In this case, it's C1, right? So it's everything from, you know, coming into town, out on McKinney, all the way down Monroe Bay Avenue, the parcel right across the street from me where I live, right? The vacant lot across the street from me. All of these things sort of come into play. And as it relates to sort of the breadth of what's going on when you try to look at changing the town code as opposed to looking at a particular place in the town, is that I hope that you'll all go back and review the town ethics guidelines and start to look at who has a connection to C1 that's being a part, that already has been a part of this dialogue and who's going to be a part of this dialogue, that's supposed to relate to things that, like, where you have business interests in this, financial interest in this, family interest in this. Even the appearance of conflict of interest is what the state says to look out for, because it relates to your underlying trust in government, right? It relates to whether or not the citizens will believe you on any other day of the week about any other topic. This is why you step back. And it's not about saying, I'll make sure that the vote is going to go the way I want it, but I won't be caught doing the final vote. It's about recusing yourself from the process entirely. There's plenty of y'all up here, right? Several of you could step back and the process could still go forward with an intelligent deliberation on what we do with our town when we have these appearances of conflicts or actual conflicts. Either one is supposed to make you go, whoa, I'm backing off on this. And when you're talking about something as broad as C1, that affects a a lot of people, right? And I think that y'all should individually, and hopefully as a group both, look at whether or not you're handling this appropriately and how you're going to handle it going forward. Next topic is the budget, right? You're going to talk about the budget. You're going to talk about the recap of the workshop. That's a part of this meeting today. It wasn't lost on me that there was no sort of public role in that, right? There's no, you're going to talk about it today as sort of a recap. There's no public role in that, other than if we sort of try and wedge our way into the public comment section here. But there's no active listening going on. The way the process is cooked up is you ask what the town professional staff want to do. You also have hashed this back and forth. It eventually gets around to the point of a public hearing, and then all you get back is ire, right? You get people that go like, I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like this, but there's no positive upfront saying, before we get into all that, what would our neighbors like to have in this next budget cycle? And listen to them up front, and then have the professional staff give you some guidance as to what it means to try to work in any of those ideas, right? Even just at a conceptual level, much less a cost level, which should even be better, but you'd have the public input early in the process. Once again, it seems like you're teeing this up so that what you will result in is a 90% baked cake, and then you're going to open up to criticism, in which case you'll get people who say, like, I don't like this, I don't like these costs, I want you to cut these things. But that's a reactive mode of the public. The public is actually a much better source of information in this town than that. It could really be instructive in trying to formulate what you want to do, as opposed to what we don't want you to do. So I think if you listen to both pieces and try and find, I know part of the process is already gone, right? Can't rewrite history, but as soon as possible, try and find some avenue to finding out what people want. And then also have the formal hearings and stuff that you have planned anyhow for later in the process.
Thank you, Mr.
Thanks.
Knuckles. Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you. Eric Nelson, 1321 Lossing Avenue. So I didn't mean to cause confusion by taking the sheet. I just wanted to sign my name on it. I didn't have a pen up here, so I needed to go back. Anyway, just a couple of quick things. One is I have been meaning to stand before you and publicly thank Public Works for the stellar job that they have done with snow removal. I have a place in Alexandria, and I go to it, and I did go to it in this past snowstorm, and there was snow everywhere, and couldn't get down my street, and blah, blah, blah. Here, everything was perfect. I mean, you guys do a stellar job, and I just wanted to say thank you very much. I also want to put on my CB Creative hat and give you guys a heads up on a fundraiser that we are doing. Maybe last year, some of you will remember that we did a fundraiser where artists and other creative people got Adirondack chairs and painted them, or in other ways decorated them, and then we auctioned them off. This year we're doing the same thing, but we are doing it with Adirondack tables. So these are little side tables that go along with the Adirondack chairs that we did last year. So the program was launched today. So if any of you are artists, Madam Mayor, and you're interested in painting a Adirondack table, go over to CB Creative and you can get one and be part of our fun project. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I always like to open it up in case there's anybody that would still like to come up that did not sign up. I don't, just know that you're all invited. All right, with that, I'm going to close the public comment at 7:58 p.m. and I'm going to take a 10-minute recess because we've been sitting up here for quite some time. take your seats and silence your cell phones again for me, please? All right, we're re-adjourning 8:08 p.m. And we're going to move right forward into our new business, which is authorizing a public hearing date for the fire department for a CUP to build a new facility behind Lenny's. Darla, is she online with us?
I am, yes, ma'am. Madam Mayor, members of council, Ms. Tucker, the Colonial Beach Volunteer Fire Department is requesting approval of two cases, a substantial accord determination, SA 2601, and for an emergency service establishment facility, and rezoning from general business C1 and general residential R2 to commercial residential CR with a conditional use permit approval to permit community facility use, which is meeting and event space. The property does front the west line of Garfield Avenue for approximately 200 feet. It is right behind Lenny's on Garfield Avenue, and the subject property is 0.7 acre. The fire department proposes the new building to store equipment and fire apparatus, as well as to have meeting space, a community facility type space for meetings and special events. The zoning ordinance permits emergency service establishments by right in a commercial residential CR zoning district and requires approval of a conditional use permit for the community facility portion of the use. The substantial accord determination is requested under Virginia Code Section 15.22232, which requires examination of the proposed use for compliance with the comprehensive plan for any public facility. The staff is requesting that the council authorize advertisement of the public hearing for your May 6th, 2026 meeting.
Okay, is there a motion to that effect? Is there a second? Second. Okay, any discussion on setting that date for the public hearing? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, there you go, Ms. Odom.
Thank you.
All right. Next,
What was the date for that?
May 6th.
May 6th.
The May work session. Next up is the FY27 budget workshop review. I don't know, Ms. Tucker, Ms. Oaks.
Ms. Oaks?
There you go.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Town Council. We're going to give a budget update. We're going to start off with the water and sewer steps that we made to make additional budget cuts. So we did some research into the electric service. As you know, we had proposed a 46% increase. We reviewed the SEC case report, and after that review, it looks like that approximate rate increase is actually 15%. So the updated analysis resulted in a significant reduction to our original draft budget for this line item. We also performed a detailed review of each line item and prior year actual expenditures, identified additional reductions, and incorporated them into the draft budget. And these are the water cuts we made in each line item: repairs and maintenance, maintenance service contracts, our electrical, rental equipment, licenses, contingency, and replacement equipment. So we were able to reduce our draft budget for the water fund by $52,182.68. Again, we went to the sewer and wastewater treatment fund, made these additional cuts in electric, contingency, vehicle equipment supplies, replacement equipment, repairs and maintenance on vehicles, electrical services, contingency, and sludge disposal. So total on the sewer fund, we made more cuts of $169,422. And as a result, we now have amended rates that we're proposing for water. The new increase would only be 1.8%, and that is a quarterly amount of $1.96 or 65 cents a month. On the sewer side, we were able to reduce the increase percent to 8.5, which will increase the quarterly sewer by $21.44, which is $7.15 a month. And this last slide is the impact of our DEQ consent order mandate. This first section is right out of our consent order. Colonial Beach shall raise sufficient revenue to the limit of its financial capability to ensure timely completion of the corrective action requirements identified in this order and SOC. Further, Colonial Beach shall raise significant revenue to the limit of its financial capability to ensure adequate and continued operation and maintenance of the facility in compliance with regulatory requirements. This means the town must raise as much revenue as it reasonably can to fix the required issues on time and to keep the facility running properly in compliance with regulations. Now, Chris is going to give a breakdown regarding the wastewater treatment plant electric.
Good evening. So in our last meeting, you guys asked to see what the meter readings were for the 6 months we used on our budget numbers. And as you see on this slide, there's 2 meters at the treatment.
Next slide. There we go.
There's 2 meters currently at the treatment plant. Each month of those 6 months is an average of about 230 kilowatts per hour, for a grand total of the 6 months of 1.4 million kilowatts. That's what it requires to run the treatment plant. The Dominion rate increase based off of the SEC for 2026 comes out to be about $11.24 per 1,000 kilowatt hours. In 2027, there will be another increase of 2.36 for the 1,000 kilowatts, for a grand total for the 6 months of our next fiscal year of $13.60 per kilowatt, 1,000 kilowatt hours. There's also another case in that same paperwork from the SEC that Dominion is also pursuing a fuel factor adjustment, which would be a separate increase that's currently in the case now, driven by fuel and wholesale power costs. And I can't see the last part. The combined impact, base rates and fuel adjustment applied together. Current average monthly costs comes out to be about $25,500 per month to operate the plant. The estimated increases would be between $2,300 and $3,800 a month. High usage amplifies rates. Multiple riders apply to the fuel and transmission, environmental issues. We're proposing a 15% budget increase, provides a safe margin for the viability.
I can actually speak to this next one. This is just essentially what Dr. Otto presented on the school funding. It'll show what we, if you go to the next slide, Heather, it shows what the amount was last year compared to what the minimum is this year, and kind of that year-over-year difference of 265. And so as you heard from Dr. Otto, he understands the ADM is 540, which would be our required match would be 3,052, or sorry, 3 million. But they're still requesting that $3.3 million of level funding as they got last year. So this was just to go over essentially what he presented on tonight.
Any questions?
Yeah, actually, I have a question. Do these numbers reflect a 2% increase for the town now?
Not at this time. We did run those numbers, and we can make that adjustment, and we will not have to do any kind of rate increase on the general fund. We have enough, but we can,
Madam Mayor, if I could just make a point to the fellow council members. If you recall, when we did the evaluations for the town manager, actually she qualified, I believe, for 3%. She would be, I'm assuming, happy with the 2% since we had that conversation. That's a hometown discount, first of all. It's important that we keep competent people in place in town, because we can see how expensive it is to have people who don't have a crib or things just real close by. So it's a 2% well spent. I would like to see those numbers reflected, and hopefully I can get the agreement with fellow town council members to see those as well.
The town, I don't have any issue with that, but I have some other questions related to the budget. Is there any further discussion on the town manager's appraisal or the compensation involved in that piece? I don't mean to just skip forward. Yes, Mr. Williams.
Oh, just question is, like, I'm not sure why we have to have the discussion. If she qualifies for it and it's in there, why isn't it just automatic?
I kind of agree with you, Mr. Williams. All right. Let's just make sure it's in there because it's a policy, and so it should just be implemented. I do have some other questions, though, related to, and Mr. Williams brought it up earlier with Supervisor Trivett here, the justification for the increases in the 9/11 dispatch.
I did get a response from Garrett over at the county, and he said that there were a significant increase in wages, which affects, of course, your VRS contributions that we have to pay and any other benefits for the dispatchers and EMS staff. And that's what he's contributing that increase to.
Did he give you any documentation to that effect?
No, because they don't have their budget documentation together at this time.
Or any validation as to why we would have to agree to that?
We have a contract with them to pay these for the dispatch of the EMS.
It was based on, they don't even have a budget right now. How can they tell us what our contract amount is?
That, I'm just relaying the information. You asked for an explanation. That is the explanation I got from Westmoreland County.
I find it inadequate from them, not from you, Lisa, and from them.
So do we pay a non-disclosed amount for whoever they decide to hire with no input or direction on our part?
Right. And also, the actual salary amounts and the amount of increase, that's a lot. To say that salary increase, you would have to be adding people and doubling people's salaries.
I can't speak to that.
That needs to be explained.
I know that every year
I
goes
will
up.
contact the county and provide further information. As a matter of fact, when I meet next week regarding the other situation, I will get some more information on the E911 dispatch.
Yeah, I think they're gonna have to justify that if they're gonna.
Well, I know on the EMS side of it, that we've been paying, what the state does not cover, for the EMS.
Entirely?
That's what we get billed for.
I think the whole agreement needs to be researched into as well in this process. And I think it just highlighted it because the increase is so great this year, and it really puts it into question. Now seems to be a good time to be asking some questions, considering. And the other thing I wanted to bring up was something that we've discussed before several times, but we haven't really put it into policy. And I'm hoping this year is maybe the year we'll consider staff bringing forward something to put into policy, and that is creating a set school tax rate. So the county does this, lots of other jurisdictions do this. It's a very typical practice for some reason, and I yet to understand why. The town of Clear Beach has never set what the school tax rate is. It's just all aggregated in one number. And what that's meant for the town over the years is that every time the school LRM mandate happens, the town general services get gouged from it. And it's sort of inequitable and left up to the state level to dictate. And often we're not getting a budget out of the governor until we're halfway through our budget season. So just as we have been refining these financial policies and gotten, I think, a lot more secure in the future here, setting a policy that sets the school tax rate that way and obviously the base level has to consistently cover the local required match, right? So we know there is a baseline that the state will not let us go under. The positive of this for the school system as well is that as the town does better, the school also reaps benefits from that. It's called revenue sharing, and so it sort of helps everyone cheerlead for one another, which I think brings the town together in some ways, especially related to school, which has been sometimes a divisive issue. And so when we do better, they do better. And that really rings true that when we do better, we have to pay them more. If you know anything about how the LRM is calculated and the Weldon Cooper Center for the rate setting and all of that, when we do better, our requirement to fund the school mandatorily goes up. So it sort of also makes sense to put it in sync with one another. So I just want to bring that up as a discussion point as we had a chance to look at the budget this year. This is a good opportunity to set what would that rate be. It doesn't mean we're changing the tax rate, so let me make that abundantly clear to anybody who's watching or paying attention to this. We are not proposing any tax rate amount changes in the general fund, but it would be a delineation of how much of that taxes is paying for the school funding. Does that everybody's tracking? I know you guys are. You've already heard me talk about it before. So I want to bring that forward because if staff's going to bring back something policy-wise, town code-wise, if this needs to be adopted into the code, then they're going to have to do some homework on this and a proposal to what that would look like. And ideally, this would coincide with passing a budget, but be printed on the actual tax bill this fall. And that's what the county does. You know, when you get your tax bill, the bottom says what the school district amount is and then what the regular amount is. So it would look, I imagine, very similarly. And like the county's tax bill, it is divided among multiple taxing agencies. So you're not just using real estate tax, but they have a little bit of each one contributes to this. I think that also balances everyone's communal contribution to paying for the school system, but also it gives this council, future councils, multiple opportunities to adjust as needed where needed, right? If the school RLM does change, there are some options. You're not only having to go to one version of it, right? Like we have talked in the past, well, how do we balance not on the full-time resident, but more on the tourist by meals tax or lodging tax that aren't paid by full-time residents, you know, and vice versa, right? All right, I'm throwing it out there. What do we think?
So are you proposing that staff comes back with illustration of what that might look like?
Yeah, I think they're going to have.
Consideration at the next meeting, is that what you're essentially asking for?
Well, we're not going to have a work session, so they get a month. Yeah, something related back, maybe what the process is and what the next steps would be at the next meeting. Maybe not like a fully flushed policy, you know, but kind of trying to coincide this. Our budget approval process is in May. We need to have something like this implemented prior to bill printing. So, we would want to be wrapping it up by July.
Yeah, I'd like to see it, right, in a little bit more detail so we can have a more robust conversation about it. I mean,
There's just a concept right now until
Right.
they,
So at the next meeting, you'd like us to come back with our findings and what the next steps would be to create that special tax rate?
yeah, I think a timeline, and I guess I would say like a delineation of tax rate, right? Because what I don't, like, it very quickly could be confused and misconstrued as an additional tax. That's not what I'm saying, you know?
Let's say that one more time. with emphasis, right?
Delineation
Yeah.
of the current tax rates.
We're not talking about increasing taxes to support the schools. We're talking about articulating what portion of your taxes are going towards the school on your tax bill.
You said it better than me, Mr. Larson.
I'll just-
I give you credit for that. Yes, Mr.
So-
Williams.
So what you're saying is each year, when we do our budget, the school will publish an amount, and this is the portion that's the school's amount?
Yep.
So there won't be any impact, like what, a year or two ago, it was a $500,000 swing, and then this year it's 265 down?
Right.
So that won't impact overall tax for the citizens?
It would delineate it to the school being the school impact versus the rest of your general services in its own impact. And I think it's just really about transparency of the budget and the information to people, because oftentimes they just get all sloshed together like a garbage disposal. And, it would just clarity and more information, and it would be right there on their tax bill. So it'd be just like,
Then
right
there
at the
wouldn't be
bottom.
like an advertisement every year if it went up or down, like,
Well, I think if you change the tax rate, you have to hold public hearings and advertise, yeah. But ideally, setting it in this realm, as the town does better, their revenue would also increase and would hopefully align in that way. So, and if the LRM, and the point of the revenue sharing is you're also creating a baseline for the school system, right? They know they're 35% of our budget. So basically what we're saying is, you're going to be 35% of the budget, and if the state mandates you to have a $500,000 increase, then your rate of your portion of our budget has to be applicable to that, and that has to be public, and it has to have a public hearing to it and a public process to it, and the council will need to be clear about it. Kind of actually invites the public a little bit more into what that means.
It goes back to Mr. Trivets' thing about transparency, right? Right now, we're just throwing everything in the one pot to say we pay for everything, school-wise, town management, all that kind of stuff, right? By delineating it, it identifies the school's requirements separate from what, the general fund would be. And as, if it is $1 million more that we have to pay, well, maybe that $1 million comes out of the tax piece of the school separately, right? So we could increase the tax just for the school separately to say that's why we're doing this, not just raising all taxes. It's because of the school or because of the general fund needs to do whatever.
And
It's
it
just
would
helping
be-
identify that.
but I thought we were saying that it's not going to affect
this
the
year.
taxes.
So
you're
this
saying in the
year-
future, people could see tax increases automatically based on.
They would anyway,
Nothing
David?
is automatic. Absolutely nothing is automatic. And there is no point in time in which this town can increase taxes without public hearing and the public process. That is illegal.
So the scenario that you're worried about would be, we got a huge bump in.
500,000 next year, and all of a sudden we're.
Right, and we're going to have to cover that expense some way, somehow, right? So it's just a question of being more transparent about that your bill's going up because the population in the school got, up by 20%, so the required local match went up by a bunch, therefore, faster than the town's growth could keep up, and so we have to increase the school's tax. That's a hypothetical, right?
That seems like a very real situation, because it happens every year or two. so.
And we have to pay for it every year, which is
Right.
why we have had increases every year, because we have to pay for that. So this makes it clearer and more transparent to the public about exactly what is increasing and why. So when the general services need an increase because something has gone up, like Dominion has raised rates 46%, which now we know is, closer to 15, we would equally be transparent about that, right?
So forgive a product of public school here, but what we're saying is you still have, because I understand, it's on. Mr. Williams, you still have leverage because in order to increase taxes, you have to have a supermajority to do so, right? Yeah, to increase taxes.
To increase taxes, I think you have to have a supermajority.
Yeah, okay. So consequently, what we're talking about here is we're dipping the toe in the water without drowning all at once, right? So it would be nice to see what it looks like, because, honestly, we're gonna have to fund the schools some way, somehow, anyway. Now, your version might be, we cut a bunch of stuff over here, right? My version might be increase taxes. But the point is, you're not being held hostage, because in order to get, in the hypothetical, my point of view, at least 5 people would have to vote that way. Do you see what I mean? So you can still stick the thing underneath the door to keep closing. So it's an opportunity to see what it looks like. And I think we're all interested in as much information as opposed to less. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, I don't think people know how much of the budget is related to the school system or understand the mandates from the state government or the fact that when I started in this position, the town was funding the school system at $1.8 million, and now we're funding the school system at $3.3 million. I don't think people know it. We can talk about it while we're up here all day long, but if we don't put it printed on their tax bill when they have to write a check, I don't think they can understand. And it's not that they're, can't understand that. It's that they're busy and living their lives, and they're not, God bless y'all who's sitting out here right now.
And the reason I would be interested in seeing it, honestly, is because when you first mentioned it, I was under the same impression that Mr. Williams was. Okay. Then I cleaned my ears a bit, and then I heard how it actually worked. Okay, so what I would like to see is how it work in the actuality on a piece of paper. And if it's something that the rest of the council doesn't want to do, you always have the option of not doing it, because supermajority of us would have to vote to raise any taxes anyway.
And just to be clear, all we're asking tonight is for the staff to come back and show us in a little bit more detail how it might work. We're not agreeing to do it tonight at all. We're just saying, hey, show us an illustration so we can have a deeper conversation about it, because we see the examples in front of us about how it might play out. So I think
Yeah.
that's worth doing, right? Even if you don't like the idea, let's have a look at it. My point of view.
I think also just seeing some examples of the other localities that do this, because there more do it than not. There are more examples than not of this. So just see how other people pan out with it.
Yeah, and as we perform our due diligence in what you've asked, I imagine if this is something that council would agree to do, that this would be for the next fiscal year budget that we would incorporate and not this fiscal year's budget?
No, I think would be related to but it does not impact the actual budget. Okay, just to be clear about that. It does not change the budget numbers, right? But it would be to implement for this FY27. Yeah, the budget we're currently working on. And printed on the bill.
And that's the only implementation for this year, because we know what the
Right.
numbers are for the school. We know what
It's-
your budget is, right?
Right.
So we know
Yeah.
we don't need to do tax increases, but we would start showing them the slice of, on the tax bill that is school.
I actually think
money.
it's
That's it.
critical that it happen sooner rather than later, so that there is a baseline set and understanding of that.
Along with the budget, we do have to include in the public hearing the setting of the tax rates, even if there's no increase. So it is part of the budget process. So if you want to have that, then this year we can show that when we set the tax rates. This portion goes to the town, this portion goes to the school.
That's exactly what I'm talking about, Lisa.
Correct.
I think we're on the same page.
Does anybody have an objection to taking a look, I guess is the question? Because the look is free.
I don't have an objection for looking, but
Right.
I'm not a fan of implementing this for this coming fiscal year.
Okay.
I mean, it's pretty short notice, we haven't gotten any information. It wasn't even announced in public that that's, was going to be on the agenda.
Well,
It's
and
just kind
it's
of
a heavy lift
separate
at this time
item.
of
It
year.
should- I'm not sure if it really falls under budget.
But
workshop
every year, we do have
overview.
to have a public hearing on the tax rate setting. So if we want to change the way we present the tax rate, this is the time to do it.
Yeah,
And get
it's
public
really does
input.
exactly align with the budget, and it is about, it's, even though it doesn't change the actual amount of budget, we're not talking about a tax raise, it's just talking about how that information is presented. So if we want it presented that way, and we want to understand presenting it that way. And the truth is, we could have no policy and just present it that way on the piece of paper and say, look, your tax rate is 0.71, and 0.30 of the 0.71 is the school budget. That's all you're saying. It's a sentence.
Yeah. And quite honestly, Mr. Williams, this gives you something concrete to present to the folks you're in communication with. I mean, it's not a bright line. It's something that can be confusing while it's being described, so it would be nice to have a piece of paper that outlines it. And, you know, honestly, if it were talking about raising everybody's taxes this budget season, I wouldn't vote for it either, okay? But it would be nice to see what it looks like for future reference.
I don't know who would not want to know how much of their taxes go to fund the school. Why would you not want to know that information?
It's not about knowing, it's about the fact that what we're saying is, yeah, we're going to set the rate this year as an announcement to the public, and then next year, the school match goes back up to what it was the previous year, and then all of a sudden, there's an automatic tax increase.
But we also can readjust the rates within those parameters,
And see-
Mr. Williams.
You would have to take money from the general budget, which we
But
do
that would be
already.
then transparent to the public,
See, and
right?
actually,
That would be clear then. Hey, our tax rate before to the school was this amount, and now we have had to change that and take from the tax rate that was not for the school and put it more towards the school.
So it wouldn't be an automatic increase.
Correct.
Yeah, it would.
It would just be transparency and communication as to how much of your taxes go to fund the school.
Yeah, because you still have
That's
to
all
have
it
a
is.
budget, right? And the point would be that you still need a supermajority to raise taxes. If you don't have that, then the money has to come from somewhere else that's already in the budget.
It
right?
doesn't
we still
change
show the
how.
higher percentage for the schools.
And one of the reasons we're kind of bantering back and forth is the concept isn't that clear, right? And it would be good to see it on a piece of paper because Lisa has too much time off anyway. And, but to see how it actually works.
And what's the, I mean, we could technically just publish every year what percentage of the school budget is the,
Yeah.
and do this, accomplish the same thing.
Each year, the town council has to adopt, along with the budget, the tax rates. They have to set the tax rates every year. All we're saying is, right now, you get a tax rate, it says your real estate taxes are 78 cents. What Robin is proposing is that you now say, your tax rate is 78 cents, but X percent is general fund, and X percent of that 78 cents is school-related. That'll be transparent on the resolution to set the tax rates. And every year, like I said, even if you don't raise taxes, those numbers could change depending on how much of the budget goes to the school. That way, you're being transparent to show the public the school system costs X percent of the budget. That's how much your real estate taxes are going to go to. So it's all just about being transparent on how much money is being spent on general fund services and school system, our required local match. So when we bring it back, you'll be able to see what it looks like.
Okay.
But every year, it's part of the budget process. Town council has to set tax rates.
Do we know if the county does this?
Yes.
It's required.
It's on your county bill.
So maybe we could get like an example, like
Oh,
as a
yeah,
part of the
we can get you
presentation.
examples.
Yeah, that would be good. Okay,
Your
thank you.
county real estate bill has it on there. We are working hard. Oh, God. Okay. I'm going to keep moving forward then. Is there any more discussion in the budget workshop review? I know you guys wanted some more time. You want to maybe have some time to bring some more things back. Was there anything else that came up since our budget meeting last week for anyone that you want to make sure?
Yeah, I have just
you
a
go first.
quick follow-up on the electric rates. I did just a little sniffing around, and in my reading, it said that there was a separate rate schedule for water and sewer plants than the standard residential rate that you showed in your slide. So I don't know if you'd found that, or is it largely the same? Just curious.
I couldn't actually locate that. We are actually currently waiting from a reply back directly from Dominion. We have reached out to, I believe the term is called a key account support.
Yeah.
To get that
Okay.
100% finalized from them.
Okay.
Because
I
what-
don't know, I don't expect it to be either higher than or lower than the residential rate. I just don't know, but I'm curious as to what it is.
To a degree, I would have managed to some degree in that aspect. They would probably consider us more of like a commercial account versus a residential. So I went with the numbers that I could find the most
Okay.
consistently throughout.
Yep.
As a basis, which is why I went to the 15%, which is just slightly higher than what the percentage comes out to be.
And we'll take the 31% discount from last time, so, I mean, I'm not looking to give horse in the mouth here. I was just wanted to follow up. Okay, cool.
But we are currently working on that as well.
Anything else? Mr. Williams?
Yeah, so is it roughly $27 or $28 proposed water sewer increase?
2340 is what I have.
2144
Yeah,
per quarter.
$23.40
for
a
the
quarter,
sewer.
which comes out to be $7.80 a month. So less than $10 a
That's
month.
the sewer.
And $1.96 per quarter for water.
I had month, it's quarter?
Yep.
Because it was 60-some cents a month, I think she
Okay, quarter.
65 cents a month on the water side. The sewer is your biggest increase,
Okay, got it, so $24.
8.5 on the sewer, yes.
Okay, and I haven't had a chance to look. I guess this information that you had like specific line items cut, so we can see that. I guess get a copy of that. That'll help.
Yeah, I listed them all out on these slides, yes.
Okay, and let's see. I will say, I know are we going to set the public hearing? Is that part of this process tonight, or we do that next month?
I think our public hearing for our budget agenda is tentatively the May work session.
So we'll be
We're
setting
going
that next
to
month.
propose tentatively request a public hearing in April when we come back with a finalized budget for your review.
Okay.
Is that the April 9th?
April 15th.
15th, okay.
So can we have, like, as we get a little more time to review some of this information, can we have an agenda line item on that particular agenda, just in case we do have questions on budget or discussion? Because I know we're still going to get probably some feedback from citizens on especially the water sewer bill, but are we going to have are we going to have a budget like we did tonight, just a budget line on the agenda for next April?
You will present the entire budget, similar to what we did during the special meeting. So the entire budget, yes.
Okay, and we'll have a discussion.
You can ask your questions, yes, I imagine, relative to the water sewer.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I think that's it for tonight then, for me.
question.
Ms. Grandstaff.
You had said at our work session that you were going to see if it's possible to address that contingency amount. Were we able to see if there was a reduction for one of those, any wiggle room in that?
For which one? I think they did cut the
We
contingency
did cut
amount in
contingencies.
water.
Okay. And that's on
Yeah,
the sheet.
yeah, the spreadsheet we cut the contingency.
It's not up on the
in
screen
both
right now.
Water and sewer and wastewater treatment plant.
Okay,
So we did reduce all three of those.
Okay. And what's the, okay, one more question. Police department, don't hit me. I just have a question for that. In the equipment section, I see it says, to update, and it's like the 72,000. Is there any wiggle room in that, updated equipment?
All, to be candid with you, all that is MVPs. There's not a penny for anything else other than the mobile digital terminals.
Okay. Thank you.
Is there any other questions?
Yeah, I would, if I may. I would just like to find out from staff if we feel, because we want to be penny wise, but not pound foolish. We haven't put ourselves budget-wise where we can't afford to have a flat tire, right?
No, we went back, for the last few years, and we looked at the current year that we're currently in, and just kind of see how we were spending those contingency dollars especially. And I think that and Chris probably will agree, I hope he agrees, that we didn't make too drastic of cuts, and I think that we will be okay.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Yes, Ms. Sanford.
So I wanted to, see other councils' ideas. I was looking at the Parks and Rec budget. And for the whole budget, it's 121,000. 68% of that is just going directly to salary. And leaving very little for any additional things to even occur. I mean, besides repairs and maintenance, 9,000, park signage, and supplies. That's all like one-time things that can be done in a couple months. I don't see how we can justify having a whole department and paying 120-some thousand.
So we can't justify having a whole department that runs, 75 events a year?
They don't run the events, they just do the administrative process.
They coordinate them, they advertise them. There's one person
Yeah.
who's doing all of that.
And I did that, and I
Okay.
made $40,000.
Okay, well, I think that we should pay our staff a professional wage for a professional job done. Now, if somebody has a problem with the way they're performing their job, that's a separate issue, and we need to take that up with HR. But as far as one person running a department, running 75 events a year, and you're paying them that amount of money, I don't see an issue with that person.
I don't want it to come off like I have an issue with the person at all. No, like, I love Sally. No, that's not it. I just cannot reasonably justify. Like, it just seems crazy to me.
All right, well, the way that I justify it is that it is less than 1% of this entire budget, and we are a tourism town that just had an economic development manager tell us that that's the only economy we have. And so Parks and Recreation is one of the few places that overlap between managing tourist events and also finally maybe providing something to do for our kids. And I hope that it bolsters and that we can expand that budget to give them more resources to do things for our kids. And if we do not spend at least 1% of an $11 million budget to be able to keep up with public spaces and parks and recreation, then I have a big problem with that. I think 1% is too small for that, and it is a shame that they do not have enough money to do more for our families and kids in this town. Mr. Williams.
To Maggie's point, I mean, this year we dodged a bullet by not having to raise real estate tax rates because of the school match went down by 265,000. So maybe this year we're okay, but we really are going to start having to take a closer look at things we're adding. I remember back when we added the Parks and Rec, I'm not saying we need to get rid of it necessarily, but I mean, there may be a point in the future where we have no choice to make cuts like that. And so, you know, just to be fair, I mean, I appreciate Maggie's at least trying to come up with solutions. But yeah, there's going to be probably a situation in the future where we're going to have to start really looking hard, because if we're only balancing the budget because of the local match going down, and we're going to have to raise rates this year, what happens next year? School match goes back up by 200,000, 300,000, and we're still short. So something to think about.
Question. Oh, go ahead, Mr. Wood. You had yours.
Assuming I have the mayor's
Go ahead,
permission.
Mr. Wood, and then Ms. Grants.
The one thing that you always need to keep in mind is that you don't want to get rid of that which creates revenue. I mean, the events that we have in town bring money into our coffers with taxes as far as food, beverage, lodging, all of that. You know, that's like trying to save money by cutting your best salesperson. It just doesn't make economic sense. And then additionally, we don't want to make our staff's lives so miserable that we run them off. And then because we've seen examples of not having quality staff just a few miles down the road, and what that gets us.
Mr. Williams' point is not, is taken with understanding. We have known that expenses outpace revenue. We have Davenport work with us. We go through this every year. We are very clear about it. It is a big reason why economic development is so critical to sustaining the operations of the town. It's why we've had to do things like implement the trash can so that we have funding available to pay for a trash truck that we couldn't do and we're financing for, and still paying off while it was broken and done. I always pray a little bit when I see a police or car. I'm sorry, it interrupts me for a second. And so, that's true. That's not a secret. And we do have to make hard choices. Now, I will say there are some hard choices to make in the budget process always, but there are also some very big line items that have an impact far beyond this very tiny department, right? And so I just want to make sure we don't ever get lost in the weeds of something small that creates a big impact to the big things that seem to sometimes fly by, even though they're $500,000, like the 911 dispatch. $600,000, $150,000, that's bigger than the whole department you're talking about right now. And they can't even justify who they're paying and how much they're paying them. Yes, Ms. Sanford.
I was after Mr. Wood. Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Okay, so hard decisions have to be made, and being new, my question is, not getting rid of a department, is there wiggle room salary-wise?
She was part-time, she is now full-time. That is the difference in salary before.
Okay.
And we had slated to have an extra part-time person because thinking it was like only a summer kind of need in the high season. But I don't know, I think this town manager's decision about what works best. Seems like year-round, there's winter planning for the summer. I think that's happening too. I don't know. Instead of 2 part-time people, it's now 1 full-time person. When you look
We-
at the.
We cut the part-time assistant out of this budget.
Right. But I mean, if you're looking at this, the stuff you gave us at the work session, it's got the 2025 and the 2026. So I just don't know if she's tracking like that part of it. And just to be clear, right now we have a balanced budget that's being presented to us. So it just, so that's,
Right, sorry.
yes, Ms. Sanford.
I was the liaison to Parks and Rec. I was also kind of doing some of those tasks when I did work here at the town. I've brought this up to Natasha, or the town manager before, but I don't really see new things that are going on. It's events that the chamber's putting on. It's administrative paperwork that is going on. And she's helping other people. I would see maybe her as the PIO position, or maybe moving over there. But I think we did a detriment hiring her, just kind of just giving her the director position, because I don't.
Let's create some outlines and some expectations for the department then. I think that's a very fair point. If the department needs to be producing a certain impact, we can set that policy and direct the town manager to that.
I also want to point out that she wasn't the one that was hired for the director report. It was Bobby Duke that originally started all this. And, I mean, to your point, there's a job for what Public Works does, and then there's the job that we say Public Works does, right? So there are many local areas that have a Public Works director that handles all kinds of events and things like that.
You mean Public Works or Parks and Rec?
I'm sorry, Parks and Rec. Did I say Public Works?
Well, Chris was looking.
Oh, sorry.
Well, I mean, to speak to your point, Kenny, when I was
Daniel
putting on an
Buddy
event,
Carr.
she did show up for Chris. So she has shown up for Chris for Public
Yeah.
Works, so you're good.
Well, my point is
Chris was gonna crawl under the desk.
there may be more things that our public, Parks and Rec department can do holistically across our recreational things, right? But we're also asking her to do other duties at will whenever, it's ad hoc, really. So, like you said, it could be the PIO position that would then just cover Parks and Rec as well. So, I mean, we have to look at it. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, she does hold multiple hats. It's just that we stick her in the Parks and Rec department role, or, you know what I'm saying, like a FTE type thing.
I will say, I'd like to see more, first off, an annual report from the department, right? If you're gonna make the claim, you're not seeing new things, well, let's put it on paper. Let's see it. Give us an annual report, what was done in 2025, so there's a better understanding of that. And then secondly, what are your expectations for 2026 or I guess we're gonna be talking about 2027 kinda, but, I'd like to see more family-related kids camps. I'd like to see that. Now, that's just my personal opinion, right? I don't know, I'm sure other people have other ideas. But if we want to set some benchmarks to where we want to go with our recreation. Also, I just will say, for this town not having any healthcare options, God love Dr. Farkani, but we need to get people outside. We need to get them moving. It's not just because I'm turning 40, guys, but I really am on this health kick. And I want my community healthy. I want the town healthy. I want the people I know and love here healthy. And I want them outside, because that's what does that to you, and petting your dog too, by the way. So, getting people outside, activating that, all of that is kind of a contribution to our health, safety, and welfare too. as a town, and that's our legal obligation as elected officials. So, you know, how can we improve that? I think asking that question and, you know, is critical. And I'm open to asking that question. Let's ask it. Let's get to
But
it.
that's the fair way to do it, is to set expectations, set parameters, but just to say, well, I don't think they're worth it. I mean, you can't treat people by walking up, hey, pal, how about we pay you half what we pay you now? You good with that? Probably not. So consequently, the only way you're going to keep competent people is to keep.
Point of order, yeah, I mean, that's
Yeah.
crossing the line.
Okay, all right. Ms. Sanford, would you like to keep? I don't mean to cut you out. Come on.
No, I mean, I would love to see a thriving Parks and Rec department here. Like, that would be my dream. It's just, we're not giving her the money, like, she needs money to do programming. Programming costs money, like, so,
Well, we saved some in electricity. Can we
yeah.
help her out a little
yeah.
bit? Like, Natasha, as a town council policy, did you zone us out after we? I know. She's like, what are they
community
talking about
outreach-
now?
Talking amongst yourselves.
Community outreach and events, it says no longer using, 0. I mean, Parks
Yeah.
and Rec, that goes hand in hand. Like, why is that 0?
Fair point.
So a lot of our points, cuts that we made in the Parks Department, as I've discussed with you all when I've met with you during our one-on-ones, is that Sally has really beefed up her efforts with volunteers, because we know that every year we strive to present a balanced budget, and we look at where we could make some cuts and still try to provide those services and through other avenues. So she has a robust volunteer community, which helps with a lot of her events and organizations that she puts on. While a lot of her events are recurring events, she does have some new events that she has on her calendar based on feedback that she receives from community members when she's out and about, and she is always out and about. So the community outreach portion, she does that automatically, and she actually this year has partnered with some of the businesses in town to provide advertising for some of the movies that we're going to present this year for the first time. So as the movies are playing, then different restaurants in town, they're going to provide some of the advertising, and so we're recouping some of the funds from there. So we've just been really creative so that we could present a balanced budget while still not cutting services this go-round. Now, next year, of course, we can take a look at a lot of other things if we want to provide her with more funding so that she can have more of a robust program. We can certainly take a look at that next year. And I always have, I always provide within my contingency, if there's anything that comes up that I need to cover, that we do that. And so Sally's just been really, really good in working with me and being creative and providing all that she does provide.
You're going to be supportive in your town manager contingency, is what you're saying,
And I have, yes.
to your extent that you're willing to. I hear you.
So I just want to address my fellow council member, Mr. Wood, on the end. It was not to slap Sally in the face to say, oh, you want to work for half. When Robin clarified that it went from part-time to full-time and what she's been doing, because when we are doing evaluations, we never know until we see what someone is doing. And on the paper, as Ms. Sanford was alluding, there were certain things because of being in Parks and Recs. Now, my first time here, I love Sally. Sally and I get along well. She supported me in outreach stuff that I've done. So it was not to slap in the face, say, oh, work for less. It was in seeking clarity, which you provided, Robin, but then we're hearing this other stuff. So I think it was a case you weren't seeing enough because you said you had done that much for less, correct? And wanted justification for it. So if we can provide justification,
Well,
that is fine.
If I misunderstood, I apologize, but the first thing I heard was.
All right, hold
she's
on. We're
being
gonna
paid
end with
X
the
number of
you
dollars.
apologize.
I'm finishing up.
I know.
So, if we need more money for that department, that's great.
Mr. Williams.
Just a suggestion, because I don't see anything wrong with like putting an agenda item on for, like, because council members can ask for anything to be put on the agenda. So maybe that, Ms. Sanford, that would be a good thing for you to add, like a discussion on our Parks and Rec department and maybe where we want to head in the future, things we're happy with and not happy with. And I mean, cutting, it's a potential discussion. I'm not saying that's what would happen, but, you know, just a thought, future.
That's a discussion that's best had with me, since that deals with operations and personnel matters. So that's a discussion that's best had with me. And after we've had that meeting with me, then council is free to relay just contents of that meeting.
I'm not talking about personnel. I mean, council's the one that created the Parks and Rec department. We authorized the commission and all that. So
Correct,
I'm
but
just
it's-
saying that that's a discussion we could have. as a
It
council.
sounds to me that you're asking for discussion on activities and direction of a department. So that isn't council's purview, that's my purview. So I welcome a meeting to discuss that. And after that meeting, council, of course, can relay the information regarding the meeting.
I look forward to following up on that after budget season. Okay. Sounds good. All right. Is there anything else on the budget workshop review? We're going to get one more look at the budget in April, and then we're going to be going to public hearing, so everybody has the same expectations. Okay. Next up is Mr. Williams added shoreline update from the Army Corps of Engineers or information related to that.
Yes, good evening, Council, Mayor. Just a quick update. As a reminder, during our strategic planning meeting back in January, one of the topics that was brought up was like having an overall plan for our beach and our shoreline and riprap and renourishment and all that. And so I have a little bit of good news, and I just wanted to make sure everybody, you know, was aware, because, you know, one person can't really do anything on their own. So I did some digging, met with some constituents just to get some feedback on suggestions. And one of the suggestions was that we should probably measure have a program where we measure our sand in each year, so we know what's missing, and the Corps of Engineers used to do that. But they also, and that's a pretty low-cost thing, they said. Also, a suggestion was to see if the Corps of Engineers, since they did the original design for all of our riprap, all the way up through all the beaches, if they would be willing to come. And I found out that the way to handle that is to go through your local congressperson, because they typically have contacts, and the Corps may come out for them, where if, you know, a town just says, hey, can you all come out, they may not come out. So contacted Whitman's office, and I talked to, I think it was Joe Shoemaker from that office, and he seemed very enthusiastic when I explained to him, you know, our beach, our history, what we had here, and all of that. And so he was very enthusiastic about it. So that's why I kind of wanted to add it to the agenda real quick tonight, just so that everybody was aware of that. And, you know, it's could be time sensitive, just because you never know. Enthusiasm can wane at any time, and, you know, we got elections coming up and stuff like that. And so anyway, I just wanted to mention that that they're interested in potentially coming out and having somebody look at the beaches and do all that stuff for us. Possibly, you know, look at the erosion and the infrastructure, potential repairs, and what, you know, maybe even help with that in the future. And it just mentioned it is on our legislative agenda, and so I think it's a good thing. So anyway, I just wanted to share that real quick. I don't know if any council members have any questions. I don't really have a lot of information, but I believe that hopefully they'll be coming out soon if we ask them to come out. The town manager sends them a request.
Yeah, I think Joe has been in touch with the town manager's office in the past too, so we should have his contact information, but let's make sure everybody gets connected and Kyler is on it since I think he's been navigating a lot of that legislative stuff. Yes, I'm
That's all I
seeing
had.
Natasha head roll. Yeah, I mean, nod, yes. Okay, excellent. All right. Thank you. I hope that comes to fruition. I hope they do. All right, next up is I move that the Town Council of the Town of Colonial Beach, Virginia, convene and close meeting for the following purposes and discuss the following subjects, all of which are exempt by Virginia law from public meeting requirements as indicated, namely pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A7, for the purpose of consultation with legal counsel and briefings by staff members or consultants pertaining to actual or probable litigation, where such consultation or briefing in the open meeting would adversely affect the negotiating or litigating posture of the town council, and pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A8, for the purpose of consultation with legal counsel retained by the town council regarding specific legal matters requiring the provision of legal advice by such counsel. So moved?
So moved.
Second? All in favor? Aye. We'll go into closed session. Thank you, guys.
doing it at different angles.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
This is the legal angle.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Who has to work tomorrow? Aye. All right, is there a motion to certify that only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements under the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed meeting was convened were heard, discussed, or considered in the meeting by council? I need a motion. Yeah, second?
Second.
And I need individual certification.
I so certify.
I so certify.
I so certify.
Say it into the mic. Thank you.
I so certify.
I so certify, and with that, our meeting is adjourned at 9:54 PM. Thank you, everybody, for your time tonight.